Here's the first ball after lunch. Chris Wokes on 99 test wickets moves into bowl, and away swinger to Brooks. It started wide enough for him to get a sighter after lunch into. I see Stuart Broad warming up furiously at mid-on, all sorts of exercises.
Well, he won't want the ball out of his hand for a few overs yet. He's got a great chance of picking up a few more wickets. 2 for 17 already. 1 for 8 from Chris Wokes. Just enough out there, isn't it? Enough swing, enough seam movement.
It's up and down as well. Wokes bowls, and that's nicely played by Brooks, but very well stopped at backward point by Bess. Nice clip from Brooks off the back foot. Bess diving to his left, prevent it going down to third man.
Yeah, but the West Indies, they've somehow got to find the positivity in their minds that one strong partnership, just one really high-class partnership of 40 overs, 50 overs, and it could go a long way in them drawing the test match. No, it's a long way off and you've got to break down every over, every ball, but that's what they must be thinking, the West Indies. Just one real hard partnership.
3 slips in for Wokes, bowling to Brooks. Brooks is on the back foot, guiding that away to Bess at backward point, and there is no run. You have that feeling, though, that there's always a ball around there somewhere, you know, keeping low, bouncing a bit, spinning a bit possibly. I haven't seen Bess yet. Not that he had a great day yesterday.
I think for Don Bess, he needs to pick up a couple of wickets this afternoon, just for his own confidence.
Wokes smoothly in bowls, and Brooks in behind that one, playing defensively. It rolls away into the offside.
I mean, it's quite ironic already that we're starting to talk about Friday's team for England, who's going to be left out, and could it be Jofra Archer coming in for one of the quicks? Could it be Jimmy Anderson coming in for one? Will Jimmy Anderson be told at his home venue where he averages 21 that he won't be playing in the game? Jofra Archer, will he come back in? Who for? I mean, they all deserve to play next week, in my eyes, from the way that they've played this week. It's been a really high-class performance by the team.
Wokes bowls outside the off stump, tempting the drive, and it gets it as well from Brooks. He hits that square with a wicket for 4. Well, he played stylishly in the first innings, Shamar Brooks, for 68 until he was LBW to Broad. That was a nice shot to get things underway after lunch. Wokes pitching it up, and Brooks into the drive. 29 for 3.
The one tactical change that England could bring to the team is Jack Leach for Dominic Bess, because the left-arm spinner, they've got so many right-handed batsmen apart from John Campbell at the top of the order.
They've got Stuart Broad for him.
Yeah, and he's...
This is Wokes bowling to Brooks, and Brooks fiddles that away, backward square on the offside, diving save from Bess, prevents it getting down to third man, but it was wide of him, so Brooks was able to get a single, takes West Indies to 30 for 3, and moves Brooks on to 7. Now Roston Chase, no he's not, because that was the last ball of the over, so Brooks pinched the bowling.
Yeah, and would the inclusion of Jack Leach be a better balance for the England side, with the fact that Joe Root can bowl a bit of off spin as well? So trying to get the ball spinning away from the outside edge of the right-hander's bat, that's something maybe they could look at.
You're England captain then. The thing about Archer, you know, this bowling group have done well, potentially going to win the game, so they go on and win the game. You say, well, do you make a change if you win a match? Do you not, as a captain, want Jofra in your side?
Yeah, I do.
You would, wouldn't you?
Yeah, of course I do, but I'd be fair to the team that's just played so well and have just dominated the West Indies so far in the test match, and apart from a brief spell yesterday where it looked pretty flat, but then they went to the short ball theory with Ben Stokes, then Stuart Broad. It was impressive by this group of bowlers. So it's not an easy one, but it's quite ironic that we're going to be talking about Jofra coming back in just because of what's happened. And there's not been a great deal of mention to someone. May have to go up to Jimmy Anderson and say, Jimmy, you're England's greatest ever. By the way, we're not picking you this week.
Yeah.
Not resting you, not picking you.
Yeah.
That is a big call.
Right, Stuart Broad to bowl his first over after lunch. Brooks is on strike, and he bowls to him now. It's outside the off stump, and Brooks leaves it, and it goes through to Butler. Do you think when they started the summer, or started the series of matches, they had teams in mind, bowling teams in mind for each of the 6 games, or can you not be as prescriptive as that?
I don't think you can be as planned as that. I think from what I can see and what happened at the Ageas Bowl is that England are trying to produce, if everyone's fit, bowling attacks without Anderson and Broad playing together. I think that's the plan in stage for the long term.
Yeah. Broad rushes in and bowls. Oh, and he drives at that one, a wide one, and misses it. And he's annoyed with himself, actually, Shamar Brooks. He drove in the previous over at one from Wokes. It was on the up and hit it well. That one was not even pitched up as much as the one from Wokes. And he went after it and missed it. Oh, that would have been a horrible dismissal.
Yeah,
he nicked that.
Rubbish shot. In the situation of the game, it's a poor shot. Wide, bit of outshape on the up. West Indies can't afford any glaring errors like that. And I think it's the right one, Simon. If that is the plan, I've not been told it's the plan, but from what I can see, it looks like it is the plan. I totally agree with it.
30 for 3. Broad bowls to Brooks. Brooks gets a straight ball, which he forces back to the bowler, who picks up and is followed through, and there's no run. Broad was actually saying last night that he says he can see no reason why Jimmy Anderson and he shouldn't play.
Of course he's going to say that. And he's one of the two and he wants to play.
He said he expects it to happen this summer.
We'll see. Let's wait and see. Yeah. I don't think it will if everyone's fit. But you'd think without how many games are being played so quickly after each other, we will pick up 2 or 3 injuries. Yeah. So it may happen.
Broad to bowl to Brooks, and Brooks forces this back. Broad half stops it, and it is picked up behind Broad by Wokes.
I mean, the easy one is to say, all right, Sam Curran, you're not playing. You're a young cricketer that's got plenty of years left in the tank, plenty of learning to be had, but I think he's played 8 test matches in the UK. Is this right, Andy? And he'd have won, if England win today, 8 test matches in these conditions. So sensible option would be for him to play.
Yeah, I know he's played 17 test matches and he's played in 12, winning England's sides. Broad bowls very wide of off stump. Brooks leans forward and lets that one go. Broad put it out there, tempting him again, but not that time. It's reining himself in. He's on 7. He strolls out towards that square leg.
He must have played. That can't be right, that stat.
What
did he play? He played it.
8 wins in 8 matches.
He has won all previous. England have won all previous 7 home tests that Curran has played. He's taken 19 wickets in those games.
Which Ashes test match did he play then? He just play Headingley.
Here goes Broad, bowling to Brooks, a bouncer. Brooks ducks underneath it, and that's the end of Broad's first over after lunch. West Indies are 30 for 3, and Brooks has 7, and Chase yet to score.
He only played at the Oval last year in the fifth.
There you go. So you could say that Sam Curran in English conditions is the trump card. Every time he plays, they win.
Bit of the Tim Bresnan's. He had that amazing record in his Test career, first part of it.
Lots of options, which is good. That's what you want as an England side. Plenty of difference, angle changes.
They've made 4 changes in their last 2 Test matches. So 4 changes for the first Test from the previous one, and then 4 changes for this one. Who do you think would have played if Archer had not nipped home to hove? Would have been Curran out or Wokes out?
Well, I think Chris Wokes said he'd been told he was playing.
Right, so it would have been Curran who didn't play then. Here is Wokes. Bowls outside the off stump, and Chase ignores it. His first ball after lunch. He's yet to score, Roston Chase.
Well, unless it was Stuart Broad. I've only heard from one England bowler that said that he was told he was playing. Right. That's Chris Wokes. I've not heard from. I'm giving Ben Stokes another game, so he's definitely going to have played this week. So it's Broad or Curran. So you would think it would have been Sam Curran.
Yeah. Chase waiting here, tapping at the crease. Here's Wokes bowling to him outside the off stump. Away shape, but it started too wide for Chase to go after it, or even have to play at it defensively.
But the point that we should be making is actually when the England batting lineup arrive and play properly, the bowling options, it could be pretty much 4 from 8, and I'm pretty sure that whoever they pick from the 8 would have enough in the tank in these conditions if the batsmen arrive and get 469 to win the match. The problem in Southampton is didn't bat well enough.
Wokes to Chase. That's a bit closer. It took off as well. Bounced. Chase fenced at it. I think he might just have been playing the line of off stump. That was a good one from Wokes. Bounce and away movement again. And the non-striker, Shamar Brooks, comes down to pass on a word.
But we also like a narrative in the media, and it's a good story. Stuart Broad and Edge's bowled doing that. I like the interview, very honest. Bowled great yesterday, but Chris Wokes got 3 for 42 as well,
Yeah, he bowled really well in in the latter part of the innings. He bowls here to Chase. Chase defends into the offside and there's no run. He's picked up a wicket. He's got rid of the adhesive Craig Brathwaite, not the one player in the West Indies side that could bat for a long time today, but one of them. He really did take some dislodging in the first innings.
Why are the team calling him the Whiz?
Who? Chris Woakes?
Yeah, he's now the Whiz. Is it the beard? I don't know. Is it?
Might be.
Yeah.
Wizard of Oz? I don't know. How did the Wizard of Oz look?
Someone will let us know on Twitter, I'm sure.
Woakes goes wide of the crease and that angles that in, and it's clipped away by Chase down towards fine leg for his first run. He's trying something a bit different there and losing his line.
Dom Sibley's gone from in the cordon in the first test down to long leg. He's got the long sweater on. He's very lonely down there. Down near the hotel. Is anyone on the balcony could have a chat with him? There's no players up there, is there?
There's someone on the 4th floor, isn't there, sitting outside their room. I can't see who that is from a distance.
It might be a West Indian player.
Yeah, there's no one in the crowd to talk to.
At least you're not getting any abuse.
No. 31 for 3. Woakes bowls outside the off stump. Brooks doesn't play. Ball that goes through quite low to Butler. End of the over. So far so good after lunch for West Indies. 15 minutes unscathed. We've had 14 overs in all, so 71 overs for England to take these last 7 wickets. Andy Zaltzman's passed me his binoculars.
Spygate. Are you allowed to look into people's rooms, Simon?
Well, I'm not.
I mean, people get interested. You're looking into the rooms.
I'm not looking into their rooms. I'm
You're
looking
going
at the
straight- the curtains open and you're going straight there in there. What are you doing?
I'm looking at the balcony. There is a.
Can't do that, Andy, can you?
I don't know. Well, I mean, I'm not looking in the rooms. But
We'll believe you.
31 for 3 is the score. Broad about to begin a new over. It's overcast at Old Trafford. The lights are on, but the cloud is reasonably high. Broad goes in and then batsman pulls away. Austin Chase.
I guess that's a little glimmer, isn't it, for the West Indies? If it's looking quite, it's not that blanket cloud. There's a few gaps.
Think about bad light later on, you mean?
Well, yeah, just a little bit of blue sky, just beyond the old pavilion. But yeah, I mean, it gets to 4 or 5 o'clock.
I think the suggestion is it's going to be a brighter evening. That was the forecast I saw. You never know up here. Broad bowls outside the off stump. There's no straight from Chase. It's
You
through
said
to
that
Butler.
like, up here. I mean, it's like the UK. It's similar across the UK, and you kind of always have a little bit of a prod at the north.
Well,
You have to stop this time.
well, do we not? We haven't we established that it is the rainiest part of the country up here.
It's just up here. It's like a little dig. Lovely part of the world.
The weather doesn't always put on its Sunday best, though, does it?
Well, it's got a little bit of drizzle. Don't harm anyone.
31 for 3. Broad rushing in past umpire Illingworth, and bowls takes one past Chase's bat there, but back of a length. He wasn't drawing him forward through to Butler.
Good conditions for running, isn't it? Up north, a bit cooler.
Yeah.
Not like Bristol with the sun on your back. It must be difficult running around Bristol.
5th sunniest place in the UK. I think we established earlier in the game. I think I did see a stat this morning that said Old Trafford misses more days Test cricket than anywhere else.
Where have you got that stat from?
Broad bowls and leg glance from Chase goes down fine. Curran's in action there, running to his right hand side, gets onto his left hand and sends in the return.
Is that your stat?
No,
That's not my stat.
He's made that stat up.
Well, no, I don't think he has made it up. The first day of Test cricket on Old Trafford, 1884, completely rained off. An entire Test was rained off here in 1938.
Talking 100 years ago. Come on.
Leopards never changed their spot.
No, but
Come on.
I did see a stat which said that on average Test grounds lose 1 day per every 6 tests, but in Old Trafford it's 1 day per every 3 Test matches. Broad bowls to Brooks, and Brooks plays that away into the offside to the right of point.
I mean, these stats generally
One
come
more
from
run.
CricViz, don't they?
I don't think
These
that
kind of
was.
stats, I believe, probably come from ManViz. Where have you got that from?
It's not a criticism of this area. It's just one of those things.
Do you think
isn't
that's
it?
it's a fact, I presume?
It's a geographical feature of the area to do with the Pennines and the weather coming in from the west mainly. across the Atlantic. Weather fronts coming in. It is just one of those things. 33 for 3. Broad bowls. Clipped away nicely by Chase through mid-wicket. Runs for West Indies here. Chase for Wokes out towards the point. I think the ball's going to win. And it does. His outfield seems to have speeded up over the course of the match.
Yeah, but it's not so quick that you don't have to get the gallop on. It always makes you just get the gallop on because you think you've got half a chance of potentially what we got here, Ryan Salter from
Exmouth about Wokes the Wiz.
All right.
His hair looks like Billy the Wiz,
okay.
Billy Wiz, the comic character from yesteryear.
Again, is that a fact or is it just made up? We seem to be making a lot of.
Are you saying that TMS needs a fact checker?
Well, we've kind of got one at the back in Andy Zaltzman, but it's his smile when he releases some of his stats that suggests that he's making them up.
Broad to bowl to Roston Chase. He's there on 6. Broad bowls to him. No! He lets that one go. It clips the pad. He's given him out. He's given him out. That was a strange one. Broad bowl to unless it's hit the bat on the way through, is it? It definitely flicked something on the way through to the keeper. Not sure Broad was appealing for LBW. Caught behind there. There was no
review.
He just walked off. Let's have a look at this one. Oh, it's hit him on the pad high up though. Surely you'd want to have a look at that, wouldn't you?
I think he's playing so well and such a key component of the West Indies team. I'd have to have a look at it, but it's nipped back. He's left it. It's hit his right leg, his bat leg. But only flicked to the top of the pad. And
it's gone through to the keeper. I definitely think you'd want to go and have a chat with your non-striker and say, hold on, do you think this was a bit high? Well, he did not play a shot, and it flicked the pad and went through to Butler.
Well, that ball nipping back, for such a long period of time. I remember growing up that coaches would always say, oh, you have to take it away from the edge. Try and get the outside edge. And the last 10 years, that ball that nips back, it's become such a popular delivery and such a hard ball. It's the hardest ball to face, I think. When the ball's nipping back, it can get you between bat and pad. You don't know quite sure what to play, what to leave. That ball then outside of off stump, if it's straight, becomes almost like an away swinger. And Broad is just getting the odd ball every now and again to just nip back, as he did with Shea Hope, as he has done there with Roston Chase. And you can see he's just pointing at the spot now. He's just gone down to show Chris Wokes the spot where he's landed. There's a little bit of a strip as you bat from the Brian Staven men. As a right-handed batsman, there's a little strip just outside of off stump by probably about 4 inches, and it's like a cracked line. And I think Stuart Broad has obviously seen it and just going to try and whack it and hit it as many times as possible.
They call him Wiz, apparently, because Joe Root says it's because his teammate is a wizard who can turn his hand to anything. We're just seeing that replay again. Ishigura is poised to come in. We're just having a look at the technology on that. I don't know, wicket's hitting, top of off stump. It was an odd one. So Broad gets his wicket. I'll just do this ball from Curran and then I'll bring Isha in. 37 for 4. Austin Chase walking off. He didn't even consult with his non-striking partner about height there. Here is Curran bowling. His first ball is defended into the onside by Brooks and there's no run. Time for Isha.
Yeah, swing though for Sam Curran. The whiz, because Joe Root thinks he can turn his hand to anything. I know he's got a coffee machine in the bio bubble, Chris Wokes, and I know he's giving coffee making lessons to some of the team. I believe it's on Zoom.
Cricketer come barista,
yeah,
is
I think he does. I think he has some kind of special machine and has some special beans.
Here comes Curran, bowling now, driven by Brooks out to the boundary. He was good with this in the first innings, just leant on it, and it reaches the boundary now. As the dive comes out, it's a valiant one. I can't actually tell who that was.
Don Best.
Oh, no, it was Don Best diving head first into the advertising sponge.
It's a remarkable dive because he isn't going to get it. I mean, it's a nice dive. I don't think he's timed it perfectly, Brooks. It comes off the bottom, but it looked like he was always going to go for 4. Don Best, I mean, he's that kind of cricketer, isn't he? He's just always in the game, trying to be out. And he's dived, yeah, and he's just his head's just gone straight through the foam. He's all right.
Well, we did something, didn't we, with Joe Root? He was speaking about all the players and he said that that's a characteristic of Don Best. He's always getting his whites dirty. 41 for 4 then, the West Indies.
By the way, are you cold?
a little bit cold. I do have a dress on as Curran bowls to Brooks, this time driving wide of the off stump. Wokes comes around to collect it. No run is taken.
Isha, I must just let you know that the conversation's been about weather. That's why I mentioned your jacket being a bit cold. Simon's released a bit of quite a glaring stat. And it's come from Simon Wilde. Old Trafford maintains its big lead in terms of days of Test cricket lost to bad weather. Most England venues average around 1 day lost per 6 days, but in Manchester it's 1 every 3.
There you go, as Brooks is backing across and leaving outside the off stump.
Now this is interesting because Old Trafford's at the top with 30 days lost. And you down south all say, oh, it's beautiful in London, glorious, sun's always shining. Lord's second, 21.
Oh.
The Oval third, 15. And I can't believe this, but Headingley's fourth with 13. Trentbridge fifth with 10. Edgbaston 8. Now, again, you always mention that Durham only 2. I know they've played less Test matches, but don't ruin my little story.
Brooks allows that one to pass outside the off stump once more. Yeah, it is interesting stats. I always like to pick apart stats because you can always make them how you want them to be.
Don't say that, Isha. Giving the game away.
Sorry, Andy. I'm sure everyone knows by now. It's something I picked up when I was doing my degree. Oh no, that doesn't work. I can't put that in my thesis. It needs to be like this.
Never let facts spoil a stat.
Curran again to Brooks outside the off stump, just angling across him at the moment as he leaves that one at the end of the over. It's 41 for 4 then. The West Indies target 312, Brooks on 12, Blackwood on 0, and the overs remaining today 69.
Yeah, plenty. The West Indies, I think they're going to have to rely on the weather, and it generally doesn't come here. So they're going to have to bat the 69 overs, I think, Ish.
Yeah, we've got the stats to tell us. Breeze blowing in the distance, the flags are flying up above the pavilion. A red brick pavilion with red seating. Over to our left, the red point, the hospitality that was buzzing during the World Cup last year. I remember being here for the India-Pakistan match. Was here, wasn't it? Yeah, it was. Yeah, I managed to get Dad up for that game. I managed to that was a close shave actually, because it was sort of up and down the country trying to get to venues day by day, and I still hadn't received the tickets. And I was coming back from the Ageas Bowl. There'd been a game at the Ageas Bowl, and driving back, and got in to the door to see the note from the post office. Is Broad runs towards us now, bowls. Blackwood plays that to the offside, and no run is taken. And the note on the front basically said, the tickets are at the post office, you have to come and collect, but you need to do it by this time. And it was that afternoon we were travelling up to Manchester as Broad on an angle bowls to Blackwood off his hips, plays that pass at the short leg. Wokes comes around at mid-on to his right to collect the ball and throw it in as they come through. So Blackwood to 1, 42 for 4. And I just froze. And Rich was with me, and I just froze. And I thought, there is no way I'm going to get to the post office in time to pick up the tickets. And this is an event that's costing about £300 a ticket, and giving Dad the opportunity to see India-Pakistan again, which is so very rare. So literally sprint out the door as Broad bowls, Blackwood. In fact, it's Brooks on the back foot defending. A sprint out the door. I'm running to the post office. Rich, in the meantime, is driving around in the car to see if he can get there quicker. I managed to get there, and there's, let's say, not the most friendly man.
You're quicker than a car.
Well, you're sort of running through Hampstead.
Okay.
Not that that's where I live. I live on the outskirts of Hampstead. It's Porter's bowling to Brooks, who's driving to mid-off. And there are some shortcuts. So there is a way to get there that's more direct than driving around in the car. And he wasn't the most friendly, and I literally got there a minute to go, and he said that I was late. So I was devastated, on my knees, begging him
Were you really?
I was
Were
on
you
my
down?
knees. I was begging him. I can't remember if I was on my knees or not. Just enhances the story, doesn't it? As Broad, headband in tow, runs towards us, big strides, bowls to Brooks again on the back foot, punching, no run. And I was at a loss. I had no idea what to do. Didn't know how I was going to get this ticket for Dad, and I was ringing around, pleading. I think I even got in touch with Steve Elworthy, who's got obviously better things to do. For the final ball of the over, Broad comes in again. Brooks whips that to mid-on, no run. 42 for 4 then, the West Indies, and 68 overs left to negotiate. And so bless him, Steve actually got back to me and said, don't worry, it's going to be okay, we'll be able to sort you out. But obviously it's really incredibly tight security. In the end, there happened to be a lovely guy. I literally, we were walking away. I was devastated of what I was going to say to Dad, that I wasn't going to be able to get him a ticket. And I just turned around and I thought, no, I'm just going to try one more time. I ran back, and there was a guy walking into the side door, and I pleaded with him, and I cannot for the life of me remember his name, but I remember tweeting him afterwards because he went in and he got the tickets for me. Bless him.
What did you do?
Well, I didn't. I didn't do what you think I did.
Oh, where's your mind going?
But he was lovely, and yeah, I thank him so much because that just made my day. As Curran bowls now, edged up and over, first slip, and goes into the ropes. Joe Root with a basketball-style leap. I think he might have got a finger on it actually as he tipped it over the bar. But runs for the West Indies. They go to 46 for 4.
That leap, didn't it, off a decent length. Joe's got no chance with that. It goes about 2 or 3 inches beyond his big leap. I remember the India-Pakistan game. It was when one of the Pakistan supporters came on a white horse.
Yeah. Yeah.
A grand entrance. It's a way to go to a cricket game. On your horse.
Blackwood leaves, allows it to pass outside the off stump.
Stuart Broad stat. It's the second time in this game he's taken 3 wickets in a single spell. He also did so in the 3rd test in South Africa, so it's 3 times in his last 3 test matches. He'd only had a 3-wicket spell 3 times in his previous 23 tests. So we talk a lot about his magic spells. When they had dried up, he'd still been very consistent for England. But so this is only the second time in his career he's had 2 3-wicket spells in a single game.
Blackwood drives ferociously up and over mid-off. Chris Wokes had no chance there, but he is being expansive here. Blackwood goes to 9, and that's 50 up for the West Indies, 50 for 4 off the bowling of Sam Curran.
Well, I don't mind this from Blackwood, but he is that style of player. You know, I think he just committed to the stroke. You probably don't want to be strolling back to the dressing room if you get caught out mid-off in this situation, but I think if he's going to go for the big shot, he's just got to commit to it. You know, really commit to the stroke. And generally when you do that, you've got a better chance of getting away with it.
Blackwood still in his crease, leaves one outside the off stump. He was looking to duck underneath it and then realised it was going to be pretty much over his head standing still. 3 slips then for Curran, rolling left arm over.
So your dad got to the match?
Dad got to the match.
Yeah.
And
where was he sat?
He actually was, he was in hospitality.
Where is he, up in the point?
Yeah, he was up in the point. So that's why I remember that story. And they had a virtual cricket game going on as Curran has passed the umpire, bowling to Blackwood again, drives through the offside. This time it pierces the gap between cover and mid-off as Wokes will now go and retrieve it from the boundary. So Blackwood to 13, 54 for 4. Yeah, he was playing one of those 3D virtual games where he's batting against a bowler coming towards him, virtually, and managed to get a video of him basically missing every single delivery.
It's not easy, is it?
Like father, like daughter. As Blackwood is in again. Sorry, and Curran is in again, and Blackwood drives the mid-off at the end of the over. 54 for 4 then. 18 overs have been bowled in this innings, and 67 overs are left. Target for everyone just tuning in, 312. Speaking to Carlos earlier, he thought that they would play with positive intent and not just sit in. Blackwood, a naturally aggressive sort of player. Good friends with Andre Russell. They spent a lot of time together. Andre Russell, the best strike rate in world cricket. And Blackwood, well, we know about his ability in terms of being able to score quickly, but in that match at Southampton, it was a very mature innings as Stuart Broad continues from the James Anderson end. He's past the umpire now, bowling to Brooks, who's forward pressing and pushing to the offside. Good length delivery on around that off stump that he's been zoning in on all throughout this innings, and last night as well. That was an incredible spell from him with the new ball, making it count. Carlos, who has come in now for Michael Vaughn. How are you feeling, Carlos?
Yeah, only 260 away.
No rain dances from you?
Not yet, not yet.
Broad bowls, struck on the pads. This looks out, not given. As Brooks heads to the other end, not given by Richard Illingworth.
With a bat.
And Stuart Broad, well, he looked convinced at one stage, pumping the air, running towards the slipcord and barely even looked back, which you have to do these days as a bowler. And it's shaping him. We're looking at the replay. Yeah, massive inside edge.
Isn't appeal technically a question? How was that?
Yeah,
a statement?
that's out.
But you can type a question in common letters, or you can type it in caps lock. I think that was a caps lock question.
55 for 4 then, as Brooks has moved to 13. Blackwood just comes down to remove some debris from in front of him. Short leg has moved out into mid-wicket. 3 slips in play as Broad, arms pumping. Bowls, Blackwood down the leg side. Joss Buttler stops it. His left hand falls to the floor. He doesn't get anything on it. Blackwood. We were doing our piece to camera for the evening highlights. And if you want to tune in, you'll get to see Carlos doing a Caribbean jig.
Yeah, just a slight jig. Just asking the clouds to open.
And then Phil Tufnell joined in a little bit later as Broad bowls. Blackwood struck on the pads. He goes to appeal, not out again. This time he actually turns and asks the question, Stuart Broad. Right arm raised as the DRS timer is counting down. 3, 2, 1. Joe Root doesn't look interested.
Talking about DRS timers, did he get the John Campbell one in fast enough?
I don't know. I don't know, Carlos.
Yeah, being picky.
As Broad bowls, back of a length, Blackwood drives to cover, no run. Yeah, I didn't actually see what happened there. I thought that they were unsure. Joss Buttler looked unmoved, and then the players came together. I was watching those guys. I didn't see the DRS timer, so it'd be interesting to look at that one back, actually.
Yeah, there was to a bit of talk on Twitter about if we got it off quickly enough. I mean, we need to moan about something.
Spark a debate, Carlos. As Blackwood is on the back foot, working to mid-on, ends up playing it with one hand in the end as the right hand comes off the bottom of the bat. End of the over then, 55 for 4. They've added 1 to the score. but more importantly, another over has gone by without losing a wicket. So 66 overs left, Carlos.
Yeah, and this is generally a period where it gets a bit easier between overs, 20, 25 or so. But as we saw yesterday, so much can happen in 3-4 overs. They're already halfway into the batting lineup. You don't expect Shannon to bat on and save a test match. Alzari shows he can get you some runs if you need them, but I don't think he will hold on either. So these two need to do the bulk of the scoring and bat the bulk of the balls.
Looks very much like a rotation of the swing bowlers as Sam Curran continues from the Van Statham end and Brooks plays that to the leg side, no run. But I just saw Chris Wokes warming up, so I don't know whether he's going to probably replace Stuart Broad from the James Anderson end. They do, of course, have Ben Stokes to be used as an enforcer if they need someone. No Mark Wood, no Jofra Archer. If there isn't anything happening with the ball in the air or off the pitch. So Joe Root will very much want to keep him for that period as the left arm Sam Curran bowls again to Brooks, who plays that easily off the back foot.
And everyone talks about Broad's spell, 3 wickets for 1 run, and they forget the 11 over burst from Stokes yesterday. Broke the partnership with Craig Brathwaite and Shamar Brooks by getting Brathwaite out, but more importantly, he stopped the scoring, broke the rhythm, and just paused play for a bit until the new ball came and made it easier for Broad to make the breakthroughs he did.
Brooks off the back foot punching to cover. Just needs to get his line a little bit tighter, but that length, more importantly, slightly fuller from Sam Curran. Strong breeze blowing across from left to right here at Old Trafford. Plenty of clouds up above. Can't actually see too much blue sky. It's a bit over to our left. And on the TV screen, Phil Simmons is nodding off. As Curran bowls, Brooks leaves outside the off stump. It's not the best of signs, is it? When
he's sleeping and we're in the middle of a nightmare watching this batting performance.
You can put that down to nerves, Carlos. It's all that adrenaline that's running through. It's making him tired.
Yeah, it's hard to watch. If you're in the dressing room now, potentially have to bat, let's say, Dulwich or Jason Holder. For me personally, it's so difficult to watch. You burn up so much mental energy just watching the game. And
Curran bowls, Brooks defends that again to the offside.
Just do a fill and take a nap.
The cat sleeps. He's not asleep right now, though, is he? I don't think
he'll say no.
He's too busy.
My dad always says not sleeping. As soon as you turn the TV off, laying in the front house, snoring and all. As soon as you turn the TV off, I wasn't sleeping. Phil will say the same.
I've caught Ravi Shastri a few times nodding off during a test match as coach. His Curran bowls to Brooks again, angling across, goes through to the keeper, allows it to pass at the end of the over. 55 for 4. And 65 overs left. That target, 312 for the West Indies, but it's all about survival at the moment. A few more words from you, Carlos, and then it will be Jonathan Agnew.
Yeah, West Indies would need to see out this final day's play, but you fast forward to the 3rd test. How are the legs of the bowlers, and more importantly, the batting lineup? Questions will be asked to John Campbell. Did okay last year against England, but hasn't really pushed on. Questions will be asked to Shea Hope. I think he's batting well, just hasn't gotten the score. And generally, the team isn't equipped to score 400, 450, and it puts a little pressure on the bowling attack. So, any changes you'd make, Aggers, from what little you know? I know one person you'd love to see.
I think the big fella needs a game.
Yeah, he probably will.
But you know what? That pitch was emerald green this morning, wasn't it? The one next door, the one they're going to play on Friday.
Yeah.
And they've rolled some life out of that. It's a much lighter colour already, and it's only Monday morning. So it might be that a second spinner would be good. But they worked with Cornwall a long time this morning. The
He had an extended spell, yeah.
Certainly did. 55 for 4. targets 312. Wokes is coming on from the far end, and immediately Blackwood's on the back foot, pushing him defensively into the offside. The wind's got up too, really pulling at the flags now down at the far end. Fluttering away, but happily that's keeping the clouds moving.
Happily for some, I guess.
Come
for
on,
some.
Come on, you're not praying for rain, Carlos. You can't do that.
I wouldn't admit it publicly.
Oh, no. 55 for 4. Here's Wokes. Bowls shorter, and Blackwood up on his toes, plays out to extra cover. No sign of the spinner yet. He might have had an over or two, but no sign of Bess. Ball certainly spun earlier in the game, but of course so many right-handers, well 10 right-handers in the side, that's why people maybe speculating that Leach might play for England in the next game. Spin the ball away. Wokes bowls, and that's crisply flicked out towards mid-wicket. The ball parried to Broad at mid-on, who aims a throw at the stumps, which is stopped by Butler. They take a run. 56 for 4.
They always love to see it on drive like that. Hit it with a straight bat and you aim between mid-wicket and mid-on. Shows they batter's in good touch. So
there are some options available anyway, aren't there, Carlos, for both teams? I mean, England could almost field an entirely different attack. It is. I mean, yours wouldn't be rotation necessarily unless the West Indian fast bowlers are just worn out. I mean, maybe Gabriel's blown a gasket for now.
Yeah,
you couldn't blame him. He tried so hard.
Yeah, one of Gabriel or Azai Joseph, whether it be fatigue, fitness worries, probably will miss out.
Yeah, I
for
think
that
so.
second spinner.
Here's Wokes. He bowls, and it's played off the front foot by Brooks out to cover. But the interesting thing about rotation, from England's perspective, you can see the arguments, and that there's 6 test matches that England are going to play. So they'll have had in their mind, with such little preparation, looking after those fast bowlers a bit. But the players themselves, I don't think players buy into rotation. You want to play. And if you're getting wickets, it's a cap. You deserve to be playing. And there's appearance fees at stake. In comes Wokes, bowls, and he's back and squared up. But Wokes able to field there after his bowl. There's all these other things, and rotation of selection is one thing, but the player just wants to play, and if he deserves selection, there's that integrity of selection is also important. You've got to have faith in the selection policy. You're not just handing out caps to people. It's a really difficult balance, isn't it?
But that's why there's a coach, that's why there's a manager and a selection panel. Someone has to make the tough decisions.
Yeah. Wokes on the far end, bowls, a little bit short still. Brooks can go on the back foot and play him firmly out to Crawley, who's fielding at cover. And there is no run. Yeah, I mean, I suppose it's got to be presented as being in the player's best interest, but then you look at Stuart Broad's reaction down at Southampton when he's left out, and angry, and he comes back and he's had such a good game here.
Yeah, well, I mean, if you're doing it for the right reasons as a selection panel, and it gets that sort of result, then well done to the selection panel. I know a lot of people saying, you shouldn't have missed out. But if you're doing it for the greater good and he comes back and puts in a performance like that, then it only adds depth. If he lays down and plays dead, then tough luck for him. But as a selection panel and as an England lover of cricket and the England team, you want as much strength in depth as possible. And you fight for your play. And the harder the reserves are working, the harder the incumbents, the players have to work as well. So it bodes well, competition for places.
Curran starts a new over. He's bowling to Blackwood, who's again on the back foot. They're just bowling not terribly short, but just a little bit too short at the moment. To try and get these batsmen really coming forward at them.
Yeah, he needs to. His big thing is swing. Obviously got Shea Hope out with a little cutter, but all his best attributes around the ball is slightly fuller, potentially just shorter than a driving length.
If he goes again, he's wearing a headband as well, left arm from round the wicket, and there's no stroke this time. Intriguing cricket. West Indies set 312 to win after Joe Root declared after 19 overs in total of the innings. So actually 11 overs this morning, which England added 92 runs. Ben Stokes hit 4 sixes, 3 fours, enjoy entertainment, 78 not out from 57 balls, which technically is the fastest half-century ever scored by an England opening batsman. And good fun it was too. There's Curran, bowls again. The batsman able to get on the back foot and play down to mid-off. Root was run out for 22 after 53 runs were added. 22 from 33 balls, and Pope was 12 not out. So that set West Indies 312 to win in 85 overs. 85 might be important because, of course, you get a new ball at 80, so potentially at least England would have 5 overs to try and polish things off with a new ball if necessary. Curran bustles in at bowls very full, and that's a real slashing drive. And the ball in the air for a long time. It's just rolling into the boundary over to our left. Well, Blackwood certainly had a go at that. That was like the old Blackwood.
Yeah, he's telling himself anything on offer he's going to capitalise on, and even if he nicks that, he'd probably go over first or second slip.
But somehow, don't you think they've got to try and put some pressure back on England here? You can't just subside quietly. They've got to at least think in your own mind, come on, you've got to actually try and regain some initiative here.
Yeah, but there's a difference between what he did and what John Campbell did. Because that ball was right up there to slap, and he just went aerial instead of going on the ground.
Curran bowls again to Blackwood, better length that. And Blackwood defends it, just getting onto the front foot. 60 for 4. The ball to go in the 22nd over. And wickets for Broad, 3 of them. And Campbell out in the first over, having dropped a very easy catch as well early on today. I don't actually had a bad night or something when he was out to the 5th ball of the innings. Caught behind, a funny one in that neither the wicketkeeper nor first slip appealed. But second slip did, and Broad did, and it was only the last moment that Root decided that he'd review the decision of not out. Curran bowls on leg stump, turned away, should be a couple of runs here, out towards square leg. So Windies move on to 62 for 4, and yet on the ultra edge there was a little spike at the appropriate moment, and Campbell was on his way. So a great start for England. Brathwaite was an LBW to Wokes for 12, 19 for 2. Shea Hope was bowled by Broad, one that he certainly felt kept low, but I'm not sure it did keep that low, but he was virtually on his knees after he'd missed it for 7. And then Roston Chase, who a misjudgment, played no shot and was LBW to Broad for 6. So 62 for 4, the target 312. There's 63 overs left for England to take these last 6 wickets.
It's a little more on Stuart Broad's opening spell. 10 overs, 3 maidens, 3 for 25. It's his second 3-wicket spell of this game. He only had 1 3-wicket spell in the whole of 2019 in 11 tests.
3 slips waiting. Wokes moves in and bowls quite straight, and straight enough for Brooks to turn that into the leg side.
And in terms of length, it's only the 4th time in his last 65 tests that he's bowled a 10-over opening spell. He also had a 9-over spell yesterday, so good stamina as well as penetration from Broad over the last couple of days.
Wonder if he and Anderson will play together. There's lots of talk about England deciding that not to play Anderson and Broad in the same 11, but Anderson's probably due a game, and Broad would be very angry if he was left out again on Friday. Down go the slips. Wokes on his way, bowls, and again quite straight, this time played to mid-on by Brooks.
But you talk about personnel, you can also talk about combinations as well. Maybe you want 1 enforcer, maybe they want 2, maybe they want 1 enforcer, the elder statesman and either Broad or Anderson, and then a clever swinger of the ball is what they want, and then you just find the persons or the personnel to drop in any given game.
You can imagine Leach coming back, actually, unless Best does something dramatic today, because they've got Root to bowl off spin as well. Wokes, there's a leading edge, and that almost would have given a catch in the gully. The ball runs down to 3rd man, and they'll come back for 3, but that was a bit of a flicky shot through mid-wicket that got the leading edge and flew through that vacant area. And that scrambled seam from Wokes, but that bat didn't come through very straight.
Yeah, he's played a few of those over mid-wicket in the couple innings he played in Southampton in the first innings here as well. That one just seaming away nicely and getting the leading edge. Thankfully for Brooks, going into the vacant gully area. But again, batting, good fielders out of position.
We've got actually the Hawkeye cameras absolutely blocking where a gully would be, so I'm relieved to see he wasn't on there for that, but we got them strapped to some scaffolding. So in front of us here, and sound effects boom microphones as well, so our view a bit obscured with the slip cordon. 65 for 4. Wokes bearded with a pavilion behind him. Runs in once more and bowls outside the off stump, and Blackwood mistimes that forcing shot. He's certainly looking to be more positive than he was at Southampton.
Yeah, he is. I guess a bit of runs behind him. Obviously, he got that one in the first innings. He could do nothing with it.
No.
But this is how he bats best. It wasn't always culminating an aerial shot, but he needs to stay positive, get into good positions.
Blackwood waits. Wokes is there now. Bowls turn around an off stump, and he turns it into the leg side, slightly crookedly, hence the noise you could hear there from behind the stumps. 65 for 4, and Blackwood simply comes up and taps away at the pitch a couple of times. Lots of activity in the nets. West Indian reserves and England reserves. There's so many players. As I was saying yesterday, the fact is that any of those could suddenly find themselves playing in the match halfway through. If someone were to go down ill. Wokes bowls short of a length, and it's played one-handed by Blackwood. Looking to force the ball away, but it's mistimed. It's 65 for 4. At the end of the over, the target 312, and 62 overs left for England to take the 6 wickets that remain. So that's why they're all staying fit and doing what they can, because if any of the players were to go down, or at least have the suspected symptoms of the coronavirus, they can be instantly and immediately replaced, and they go into a quarantine.
Can you imagine one of the West Indies reserves being here for a month, playing 2 practice games, then doing nothing for 2 weeks in a match sense, and then being thrown into potential 3rd test decider and having to bat or bowl to win the game for your region?
Tough, isn't it? So fast bowlers running in there though, Carlos. Let's see. Now Bess is coming on. He's coming on from this end. This is the end that Chase found some spin in England's first innings. There's a short leg and a slip. Man out at deep mid-wicket. Mid-on set back a little, and there's also the deep point fields when encouraging Bess to bowl this line outside the off stump. 65 for 4. England needs 6 wickets to win. His Bess tossing it up, a low full toss, driven out to deep point for 1 run. 66 for 4. And the field remains the same for Blackwood, who's not wearing a sleeveless sweater. His batting partner Brooks has got the West Indian sleeveless on. Blackwood, a slip and a short leg, comes forward and drives crisply along the ground to mid-off. Thought about a single. He set off there for a pace or two, which I think rather alarmed Brooks, and then shouted no as Root was able to field, and Bess gets to work, polishing the ball on his shirt. Tously hair, again quite long, and he goes over the wicket and gives that a bit of a flick because it's spinning. It's a little bit short, and Blackwood runs that away towards 3rd man. So 1 more run is taken. 68 for 4. The target 312 for the West Indies. And yes, Bess's hair is getting a little wild. He hasn't gone for the headband.
Nor the Alice band?
No, not neither. It's quite shaggy, isn't it? And he goes over the wicket, bowls again with a bit of a flick, has driven firmly back at him. But into the pitch first. Which Bess gathers. spins himself a catch or two. Walks in and bowls. That's a lovely shot. Past Root's left hand. That's really a handsome shot from Blackwood. That'll go for 4. Perfectly in position.
No, it's not every day you'd mention Raoul Dravid in the same sentence as Jermaine Blackwood. But
okay.
he'd be very proud of that. He made mention of hitting against the spin to get the best contact and an extra cover drive against the off spinner all along the ground.
Was a beautiful shot that.
Oof, lovely.
Everything right. Just that little element of tiniest little bit of risk because it was against the spin, but it was full enough. Beautifully put away. 72 for 4, the target 312. Best goes round the wicket turn, and that turns, but a little bit too short to inconvenience him. It's played out to mid-wicket, and that's the end of the over. 72 for 4, so 24 overs gone. The target 312. We've got 61 overs of play left today for England to try and win this game and level the series and set it all up for the final test, which starts on Friday. More thoughts from Carlos Brathwaite, and then Alison Mitchell will come in here.
They've been impressed with Blackwood. First innings, everyone made a couple of jokes at how he got out, and I think he realised he's good enough to trust his defence, and he's powerful enough to hit the ball on the ground. And the same shots he would have been playing aerially, he's now started to play all along the ground, and he's built an innings in that 95, got an unplayable one in the first innings, but he looks good again for his 26 not out thus far.
Yeah, he is looking all right, isn't he, Carlos? Stuart Broad, what a terrific spell from him for his 10 overs, 3 for 25. And taking a breather now with Wokes coming in from the James Anderson end. England on the hunt for 6 more wickets. And the West Indies a long way to go to save the game yet. 61 overs left. A bit chillier out there today than it has been on previous days, isn't it? Notice the players with their hands dug into the pockets, hand warmers.
I needed my big thick jacket this morning.
I saw that. Wokes in, covering up Brooks coming forward on off stump. Big sheepskin number got Carlos. Now, it's not the middle of winter. You're based in the UK. You should be accustomed to the chillier days of summer. But 72 for 4 then. Brooks on 17. Blackwood at the non-striker's end. Practicing a few gentle shadow shots down there. The wind is briskly blustering, keeping the flags standing very proud, waving on top of the pavilion. Here is Brooks facing up again. Wokes is in. It's full and straight. He's punch-driven it, but into the ground, hasn't quite timed it. Up to mid-off, where it's picked up, and there is no run. Alistair Cook's come into the hot seat. So far, so good for England. Need to keep pushing here.
Yeah, it's been a good 24 overs. Just wonder if this ball's just gone that slightly bit softer. The players are mentioning it after 40 overs. They definitely notice the difference, but it's the last 4 or 5 overs. I haven't quite seen that, that inconsistent bounce we'd seen with a slightly harder ball.
And Wokes had got some nice shape when the ball was new as well. And he goes now with 3 slips, a change of ends for him. That one has sat up, and it's been taken by Butler behind the stumps. Now, finger hasn't gone up though, and the batsman isn't moving. Well, there was a definite deflection, it seemed. It's come off.
That did something. I think it's come off his forearm. Chris Wokes was just saying to Joe Root that he thought it came off his forearm.
Well, Root has been timed out now. The timer for DRS has ticked away to 0. Cut one very fine earlier for the catch behind that dismissed John Campbell. This time, no review. But that one, it did really kick up. So it's squeezed past it. Oh, did that come off glove?
That hit the handle. Did it hit the handle?
Let's have another look. It's been dug in, rears up. A kiss of dust off the surface as well. Difficult to tell from that view.
Yeah, it's definitely hit the arm, just whether it brushed the handle on the way through.
Wokes in again now down the leg side, taken by Butler. And no run.
We have to wait for the old Snicko to, what was it, Snicko or Ultra Edge, whatever they call it these days, to show us whether, very hard for the umpires. It definitely hit his back arm.
Whether it took something on the way through.
Yeah, just whether it took something on the way through, you're right.
We're still getting the replays. And the bottom hand comes off the bat. I'm really not sure. I think you want to see the technology. Even then, you're going to be having to tell the difference between spike on arm versus spike on anything else. Full blocked by Brooks, high front elbow, getting back well in behind the ball. Fielded there by Sibley at cover. 72 for 4. Wokes took the wicket of Craig Brathwaite earlier today. Now here is the ultra edge, and we're getting a sideways on view as well. That looked like it's kissed the handle. There's a mark. Surely that's saying there was a mark as the ball kissed the handle, and then a bigger spike as it hit the arm. But yeah, I think that goes down as a review missed.
Would have been turned over, definitely. Would have been given out.
Yep.
Very hard for umpire Illingworth to give that out.
Wokes in again, full straight, and it's turned away past the square leg umpire, behind square, and Brooks comes back for a second. Well, it took us until we got the sideways view and the slow motion and the snippo to give our own judgment. So yeah, I don't think any particular fault of the umpire. It's his judgment call, and then again it was England's judgment call not to review it equally. A little bit of handle, a little bit of right forearm, and then Butler taking a catch, tumbling to his right hand side. But
I was saying about the ball lost its bit of hardness, and the next one kicked up.
yeah, that's sort of encouraging signs for England that there will still be a little bit of unpredictability in the pitch, and makes it that much harder for West Indies to see out the next 60 overs still left in the day. They've got Best from this end getting ready to bowl to Blackwood. Incredible start to his innings, throwing the bat everywhere.
He's played very nicely, very different ways of trying to save the game. 26 of 29 balls. I don't think England will mind that too much. You always think you've got a chance against Blackwood in this kind of mood. He played really sensibly, didn't he, in Southampton? So it's a bit of a change of tempo for him. I wonder if he's just going to settle down a little bit. You wonder whether Joe Root could keep deep mid on up now. He's back for Blackwood.
Best in the partnership worth 37 as he's forward, defending into the onside.
Give him that gamble to try and, if he wants to take the risk, or is it just a little sign that trying to set defensive field, let Don Best settle into his role and hope to find a bit of rhythm.
It's Best in again, full driven. Find the gap beautifully, threading it between extra cover and mid-off for 4. All the way along the ground, controlled stroke.
Well, very full in these 8 or 9 balls he's bowled, and a couple of strong drives again. That's very full. Just need to drag that length back.
And again, yeah, the spinner, 4th innings, is in his mind that he's thinking, should be the one to be taking the wickets here.
Absolutely. It takes a while to get used to that kind of pressure and be able to deliver in an England shirt, and Dom hasn't had that much experience of these kind of conditions.
Best in again, straight in. Quick single being taken to mid-off. Gather, a throw to the striker's end, and Brooks is safely through. 79 for 4 then, and Blackwood on to 31. I mean, Best does it. He relishes the challenge. His attitude speaks that he has the right aptitude to take this on and to be that bowler, but you still have to develop and mature into that role. As he comes in now with his tousled hair past the umpire, bowls again, draws the backwards and forward, defending out to the offside, no run.
And ultimately improve your technique and groove it so you are consistent with your actions, so you can land the ball in a very, very small spot time and time again. And he's a very young man, so he's got a lot of improving to do. Graham Swan came in at 28 and he had a lot more experience when he had first class experience to be the bowler he was when he started.
Slipping short leg there, defence again. Brooks coming forward and no run. Yeah, Don Best has a lot of learning to do, but I feel like he's somebody who takes things on board. Only 22 years of age, and it's only his 7th Test match. In he comes. It's the umpire, last ball of the over. Will drift, come off the outside edge, but safe, just popping into the ground as the batsman was drawn forward again. And end of the over, Brooks 19, Blackwood 31, West Indies 79 for 4. To remind you, they were set a target of 312 in 85 overs. And that was possible because Ben Stokes resumed his overnight innings. He was not out on 16 off 18 and proceeded to crash his way to 78 not out in 57 balls, 4 fours and 3 sixes in that time. And it was really from the get-go. Ball 1, throwing the bat. Okay, a couple might have gone in the air. He was dropped as well on 30. I mean, that'll be something to look at, the deeper the West Indies managed to take this innings. But at the moment, the runs aren't exactly flowing for them. But all the same, Stokes dropped on 30, and then England added 92 in 11 overs.
Could be a big swing, that, couldn't it? Because if Ben Stokes got out, England wouldn't be in this position with the amount of runs on the ball, because you saw Joe Root struggling to do the same amount of damage as Ben Stokes was doing. So it's probably a 4 or 5 over swing Ben Stokes' calls for England. So actually later on in the day could prove, especially here, there's a bit of resilience from West Indies. England look like they might need all these 60 overs.
And Blackwood is 31 off 32, facing up now to Wokes, who's in bowling full. He's defending back up the pitch. Wokes picking up one-handed in his follow-through. I almost felt as if Blackwood had come out with a Stokes mindset to say perhaps he's been given licence to go hard if he can back himself and go hard for a few overs and just get the scoring up a little bit, get the scoreboard moving, and then take stock again. And as he saw in Southampton, it was that mature innings of them being able to bat in a more measured fashion. But he's sort of reined himself back in since then. Works in or beaten by a beauty. Through to Butler. He's nodding his approval almost. So, yep, I got done well and truly then.
Yeah, Graham Thorpe used to sometimes tell us if he was struggling with a bit of rhythm, that he would go out looking to hit boundaries straight away, because that will get him moving. And if he gets to 20, then he would rein himself back in, and he felt his movements were then better. So he'd almost gamble a bit early on in his innings just to get everything moving. Blackwell on the naught in the first innings.
Yeah. In goes Wokes again full, and he's coming forward looking to drive but doesn't really get hold of it. Up to Broad, who kneels to gather at mid-on.
Yeah, so you play attacking, you kind of hit the ball on a length outside of stump. He said he'd throw everything at it, commit to doing it, and then kind of got in quicker, and then he could settle back down into his rhythm. And Blackwood could be that kind of player, but you just don't know what. I've seen him bat a number of times. You just don't know what Blackwood you're going to get, and I wouldn't have predicted he could have played as well as that last weekend. So that's why you keep on the edge of his seat, don't you, with this guy?
Works in again. There's some width, and that's him flayed away down towards third man for 4, and that was very deliberate. I knew there was no man back on that boundary, but it was pretty gutsy of him to come out and do that when he was on a pair.
Yeah, he's away now, isn't he? 30. Was he on 30 odd?
35 from 36. 7 fours.
83 for 4 then. Now it's taking a while for this ball to be retrieved. I think that has been retrieved. Of course, you sort of forget that there's nobody in the crowd to quickly throw the ball back in. And of course, I can see Gareth Copley, photographer, down there in the front row of the stand, but he can't get up and touch the ball. So he just has to, nope, he's shaking his head. No, Gareth, you stay sitting there. Down to the players.
Got a very big camera, hasn't he, old Gareth there?
He's got to see a long way from that boundary edge. Got the full long lens out. Wokes in from a little wide of the crease, down the leg side. He's got something on it. Picked up at fine leg. Did it come off the pad? It did. Leg by signalled. 84 for 4 then. Blackwood onto 35 off 37. Stokes left the field momentarily. Looks like he's about to be ready to come back on again. Was that Crawley standing in its second slip between Root and Burns at the moment? It's been an overcast day all day. Felt this morning as if it was going to be a bright blue sky batting day, but maybe this is a little bit in England's favour.
Sunny day in Manchester, this.
In comes Wokes. Bowling full. That's been clipped up to Broad at mid-on, a tumbling half-stop and misfield, and he's then chasing back, and batsman crossed for a second. Broad sends a throw back in. Broad's looking a bit chilly out there. He's got the full long-sleeve cable knit sweater on, along with the wide-brimmed white sun hats. Bit of a mixed bag. 86 for 4. He's not quite sure which way to play it. Cold day, but a bit of sunshine every now and again.
And that wind's got a bit of chilling, isn't it? Also, we've sat inside and it's fine, but I think it is. Every player's got some hand warmers, I think. You see Joe with his hand in his pockets quite a lot of the time. I assume he's got hand warmers in there.
Yeah, I like to think he's not just there at slips with his hand in his pockets looking disinterested. No, he's all with the hand warmers. So 86 for 4, drinks being brought out onto the field here. England hunting for 6 more wickets to win this Test match, and the West Indies were set 312 in 85 overs. They've got to try and bat out the day to draw the match, and then that would secure them the trophy, what with one match still to come in this 3-match series. England in the huddle then, having some drinks. A reminder, if you want to see those wickets that have fallen, and a brilliant spell again from Broad. Those highlights are available now on the BBC Sport website and the app. And then we've got the whole day encapsulated into 1 hour with Today at the Test on BBC Two from 7 p.m. and then that stays on the iPlayer as well, so you can catch up on that whenever is convenient for you. But the wickets to fall today, then I'll take you through those after that amazing innings by Stokes and the drama of the first half hour of the day. The first wicket, Broad with his 5th delivery of the innings. John Campbell was caught behind. Now this was an interesting one, Alistair, wasn't it? Because it was a very late review called for by Root. There was an appeal, a half-hearted appeal, no response from the umpire, and then Root decided to look pretty much just as the timer ticked down to 0, so he snuck it in there, and indeed there was a brush on Snicko, so Campbell gone for 4. The second wicket to fall was Craig Brathwaite. That was an important one because England well aware that he can bat long, probably the more likely of the West Indies batsmen to be able to stick there out in the middle. LBW Wokes for 12, and then Shea Hope came out, bowled by Broad for 7, and that was an incredible clean-up. Spectacular sight. Ball coming back, top of off stump, 23 for 3 at that stage. And then Roston Chase, LBW Broad for 8. He offered no stroke. And at that point, 37 for 4 after 15 overs. So these two are putting together a useful partnership, but they need a big partnership. They need a hefty partnership of longevity.
Yeah, they played really well, these two. I've been really impressed with Brooks throughout this series. You haven't seen much of him. He's got a really simple technique, very well organised, and he looks a really good player. And again, he's hanging in there. Blackwood's been aggressive, hasn't he? He's been probably the more of Blackwood that we'd expected. Not the same as Southampton, but he's done a good job. These two are going to have to bat a long time, aren't they? With Holder and Dowridge next 2, then they're only 3 wickets away from Joseph. That's what England had to be telling themselves. Those last 3 you fancy won't take too long to create 3 chances against them. So in the partnership like this, you'll be telling yourselves that we're 3 wickets away from Joseph. That's what you've got to kind of keep believing, and not often you just roll through a side anytime. There's always a partnership at some stage, and England are just in it in the moment, and they could just do Don Best bowling a Jaffa here to him for his confidence and for to make West Indies 5 down.
Yeah, that would be great for Best, wouldn't it? Got the 1 wicket in the first innings. It was the night watchman Alzari Joseph. That was important for him to dislodge him as well, because he'd played quite a sprightly knock at that point. But Best ball in hand again. They've had the drinks. 86 for 4 then. Grey sky overhead, a chill in the air. A final day which began with every result possible. And Ben Stokes pushed things in England's direction. The declaration came. Bess in now. It's just turned off the straight and gone with the spin, Blackwood. Out towards deep square leg past Broad and coming back for a second. He's got the short leg in place, got the slip there as well. So another couple.
Brought up the 50 partnership from 12.1 overs.
Yep, very, very handy runs. Blackwood and Brooks together. So it was Brathwaite who spanned 350 partnerships, 250 partnerships during the first innings. But now it's down to these two for the moment. Right. Bess in, Fuller forces the batsman went back that time. Blackwood defending, 88 for 4. Stokes is whirling his arms over at first slip. Yet to see him this innings. He's done it with the bat. He'd be the man to break the partnership with ball. Bess in over the wicket again. Goes forward. Blackwood defends back up the pitch. And there's no run. Do you think there is anything wrong with Stokes' toe?
I don't think so, no. I don't think so. I just think with this side that Joe Root's got, he's got a lot of options, isn't he? And on this kind of wicket, Don Bess, it has been turning.
Bess in again. Defence once more. Coming well forward, Blackwood looking solid.
With the 3 other seamers, you're going to go to spin. That's probably why he's been the last seamer to be turned to. He'll make a difference. He'll make something happen. That is a certain.
Bess in past umpire Gough. Flick of the wrist to mid-wicket where Rory Burns is fielding in his Navy England cap. Bearded, got the sleeveless jumper on, long-sleeved shirt beneath. Don Bess bowling with his collar up. Now that's reminiscent of Graham Swan. He's got the top button done up as well. And he goes over the wickets. Forward again, defence, getting that bat and pad really tight together is Blackwood. 88 for 4. And so what is going to happen here? Are we going to have some Stokes right now? Looks like we are. Get ready to bowl from the James Anderson end. Well, there's been another little potential shift in the day's play here. First time we'll see Ben Stokes bowl in this innings.
Imagine the crowd now. If there was a crowd in there, the roar he'd got when they announced that Ben Stokes was on after his heroics in the first innings and the third innings.
Yep. And just his innings with the bat showed it absolutely demonstrated the all-round cricketer that he is, what he's developed into as a batsman, because we saw the shifting gears in the first innings. We saw how long he can bat, how patiently he can bat, how he can expand and then rein himself in as if he's got his own batting talent on a string, and he'll just give himself a little bit more to play with and then just reel himself in a little bit. And then this morning we just saw the whole lasso being thrown.
Gave him first ball and it walked down to Roach and just cracked it to the offside, only for one, but...
Here's Stokes then, his first ball. It's outside the off stump to Brooks and he's leaving it alone through to Butler.
But he showed his intent, didn't he? Straight away. I'm having 2 or 3 overs to play myself in. We need runs quickly and I'm going to go first ball.
Yeah, it was amazing to watch. Absolutely amazing. Reminiscent of the way he played the Australians at Headingley. Slightly different scenario, but equally in a way that put England in a commanding position. It could yet have drifted and squeaked into a different direction. Here is Stokes in again and just surprised Brooks a little bit, as if he was in 2 minds whether to really commit to a forward defence or not, and ended up a little more upright, drawing away at the last moment. You're busting out the bubble after this, Alistair. This is your last test of this series with us.
I am. Back to Essex training tomorrow. We've got waiting for those fixtures to come through for those 5 games in the Bob Willis Cup to start. I think our first game's against Kent, actually.
Here's Stokes in again to Brooks. Yes. A big drive. He's got the nick. No, he hasn't. Through to Butler. Well, it was taking a big stride forward outside the off stump and forward to Stokes. Really liked the look of it, didn't he? It
was a full ball. Just got Ben Stokes got that away shape, draw him into the shot, and I heard something in my ears. I thought it was quite a clear nick, but I must have not listened properly.
Be deceptive, the noises in your ears. Stokes in again though. The offer up to Brooks once more. It's straighter, tucks him up. Ball comes off the outside edge into the ground and out towards point. Well, it's just a change-up, isn't it? A new bowler, it's Stokes. It's his force of personality that he brings when he comes running in as well that will make a batsman wary.
Yeah, and also he at some stage might come around the wicket, bowl some bounces as well, just to keep the West Indies on their toes like he did in that kind of 11-over spell in the first innings. Definitely doesn't need to do it now. There's plenty there if he can find that Stuart Broad area.
Stokes goes in. This is tucked off the hip, past the square leg umpire. Coming back for a second. Chase out into the deep. It's a gentle 2 in the end, so the first run's conceded by Stokes. 90 for 4, the West Indies. Who was a bowler when you were facing that, almost sort of had that similar force of personality? And you're lucky to play with some pretty bowlers who had big personalities and big presences, I suppose. Big presence, that's what Stokes does, isn't it? That's what he's got, which is accentuated by the crowd getting behind him when he comes onto bowl. You're absolutely right. It adds to the theatre and the drama of the moment. Stokes in, he's taken a flash outside the off stump, missed, through to Butler once more. So a couple of shots which could have brought about a wicket during that first Ben Stokes over. West Indies are 90 for 4 then, set 312 by England. I'll let you ponder that question, Alistair. And Simon Mann's then coming in.
Yeah, Ben Stokes just makes things happen. 2 innocuous balls and then 2 absolute jaffers, and then a ball which the last ball, the over, was just in the channel and makes something happen. Brooks, maybe if it wasn't Ben Stokes, would have easily put it away, but just at the moment, what the Ben Stokes has got in this game, it just feels as if any time there could be a nick. And just West Indies, a bit of a strange over that one. I couldn't quite work out what was happening.
Well, if you can't, It'll be a mystery for everyone else as well. 90 for 4, 29 overs have been bowled. Best bowls, that's hit forcefully by Blackwood up towards long on for a single. It's good batting from Blackwood. I know there's a bit of risk there, but it also transfers a bit of pressure back onto the bowling side. You do play a few shots. And he's also eating up balls as well.
He's done the damage now, hasn't he? If he can now just settle into a nice bit of rhythm, in terms of damage, in terms of the field has gone back.
Brooks is on 23 meanwhile, and he drives into the offside, goes out to extra cover where it's picked up by Crawley, and there is no run. So there are 55 overs left in the day's play after this one. So still bags of time for England. It'll feel like a long, long haul for West Indies, but these two giving them a bit of a chance here. Here's Best bowling, and that's hit firmly into the onside by Brooks to mid-wicket. Remember, the target is 312. 85 overs. So it's about 4 and over from here if West Indies want to chase it. And these two are playing positively. Brooks on 23, slipping a short leg in. Best bowls. Oh, he nearly plays on there. Very nearly plays on. Chopped that into the ground, hit Butler's pads, and then rolled forward into the crease.
Yeah, not a good shot to the ball turning in. Just trying to dab it down to that vacant point area, but it's high risk that for very little reward, and that's, again, so easily could have just chopped onto the stumps.
He wasn't far away from that off stump. He hit Butler on the helmet and then rolled forward. Best again, bowls to Brooks, who takes that off the stumps, giving himself some room to try to hit that through the offside. It was a fraction short though from Best, so it wasn't a very high risk shot. Picked up by Crawley in the covers. There's no run. 91 for 4. Last ball of Best is over. He's bowled 4 overs so far. No wicket for 15. Oh, and he goes past the outside edge of Brooks's bat. Perhaps just playing for some turn there. And it was one that just went straight on through to Butler, who whipped off the bails for good measure. But Brooks's back foot was anchored. Anything that sort of would help England a bit here? They're playing 1 or 2 shots, and that might just free them up a bit and gives England a chance. But these two are playing nicely at the moment.
Yeah, because Brooks has looked really just solid, isn't he? And then that last over to Stokes, I was trying to work it out. He had a big couple of whooshkas outside off stump. Out of nowhere, really. Out of absolutely nowhere. He's been so controlled. And we know Blackwood's been aggressive, but Brooks has just been really controlled. Then Ben Stokes comes on, and he's, he would have just left those balls, 10 minutes ago. Now Ben Stokes come on, he's played massive drives at it, and that's why I couldn't quite work out how that's happened. Anyway.
Well, let's see what Stokes can induce in this over. Blackwood is on 38. West Indies are 91 for 4. Stokes coming in from the Jimmy Anderson end. Bowls outside the off stump, and Blackwood lifts the gloves and lets the ball go through to Joss Butler. The weather, it's brighter now than it was, say, an hour ago. Some blue sky away to our left-hand side, and a stiff breeze as well to blow any dark clouds away.
Was it on air with you yesterday? I read out my mum's text message of her report.
Yeah. Have you got more today?
I've got more. Yeah, I got one last night. So I'd save it when you're on air.
All right.
With us.
This is Stokes rolling into bowl to Blackwood. He's up on his toes, playing defensively into the offside towards extra cover, and there's no run.
So she's been, throughout this test match, I haven't known, she's been sending a message of her report of the day from her eyes. So it was a day 4 report started off, actually, this one. Pleasantly cool conditions for gardening. Listen to TMS. 10th interesting day with lots of swings and roundabouts. Slow start today with no great problems for West Indies. It goes on, you better do this ball next.
Okay.
It's quite a long one, this one.
This is Stokes going into ball. A drive and a miss from Blackwood. Not far away from off stump as well. Blackwood looks frustrated with himself, but that wasn't a great shot. Didn't look a great shot anyway. 91 for 4, and the non-striker Brooks comes down to have a word with him. Come on, we've got a test match here to save. Blackwood saying we've got a test match to win.
Well, if he get on this strike rate, I'll give him a chance. So then she went on to say, I was surprised that Stokes did not bowl earlier, and then was even more surprised that he bowled 11 consecutive overs. And then she was resigning herself to the draw. Must predict a text spelt wrong, which was a bit...
Stokes bowls, forward goes Blackwood, playing that towards mid-on, and there's no run.
Which he then went on later on a text message when she realised that she spelt draw wrong. And when the new ball cometh, there was the Broady batch followed by the Wokeseas wickets. which put a different perspective on the day. So basically, she's better than me at this job, and she should be doing it instead.
Oh, we can get her in for the next Test match. You're heading off.
Exactly. And then the final? Did anything else? Oh, we talked about her name. Stephanie was her name in grammar school. Elizabeth, the new queen, was very popular, and there's 5 Elizabeths in the class, so she volunteered to change.
Right, okay.
Finally found out.
Stokes bowls. Blackwood gets a single into the offside to the right of backward point. Takes West Indies to 92 for 4, and Blackwood to 39. I'd have to say I'd be keener to hear her report on your commentary, what she thinks of your commentary and your summarising. Does she do that or not?
Not yet. That could be
Right.
be what it should be. If TMS's summariser through Mum's eye, Mum's ears.
There we are, Mrs. Cook. That's your next challenge.
It'll come through quickly, I reckon.
Stephanie or Elizabeth? So do you go by Stephanie or Elizabeth now?
Go with Stephanie for you.
Stephanie. All right. This is Stokes bowling. He's up on his toes. Brooks turning that through square leg for 1. Are they going to come back for the second? They do. Fielder Pope is slightly off balance, actually, but sends it over the head of Butler. Backed up at backward point by Bess. 2 more to the total. 94 for 4 at the end of 31 overs. So they're scoring at around about 3 and over, just over 3 and over. There are 54 overs left and need 312 to win. No, the game's at a very interesting stage at the moment. But you do feel there are quick wickets available on this pitch.
Well, because England got 3 wickets quite early, even if there's a partnership, you just know that the rest of these 54 overs, they know if they go another bang bang, they can change very quickly. You just have a feeling again this is going to go down to the wire, don't you?
We could be in for a very exciting finish later on. 54 overs left. New over from Best, bowling to Blackwood. Best still looking for his first wicket in his second innings. And he's played away by Blackwood into the onside, but getting his bat out in front of his pad there. Blackwood, you feel, gives you a chance. Played superbly last Sunday in Southampton. I thought that was the man of the match performance, to be honest, but they gave it to Shannon Gabriel for his 9 wickets. Here is Bess, nudged away past short leg by a flinching Blackwood. Goes to Broad at backward square leg.
So you just know, don't you? You just think he might. He just fancies going over mid-off, don't you? You know that's in his mind. He just thinks, I can play that shot. I can play that shot. And the bloke on his shoulder will be telling him to do it.
Bess to Blackwood, he's back. Turning that to Broad, backward square leg, and there's no run. Presumably there's a long on in. There
is.
Can't see him. He's beneath the gantry in front of the box. Deep cover, deep mid wicket, long on. 3 men out for Blackwood against Bess. Bess goes in and bowls. And he's too short there. Blackwood's back, forcing it into the onside. Goes to Burns at mid wicket, and there is no run. It's a good battle out there. Blackwood trying to piece it together, but that aggressive streak in him as well. He wants to take the bowling on. Reined it in superbly last week. Helped West Indies win that match. Best bowls to him. It's nudged away past short leg. In the air for a moment. There was a groan from Ollie Pope at short leg. Broad has to run back towards the deep square leg boundary. And Blackwood moves into the 40s with 2 more runs. So 41 to him. West Indies at 96 for 4. Don Bess. Looking at this West Indies batting line-up and thinking, where are all those left-handers gone? All the other sides seem to have.
I've got some stats on off-spin to right and left-handers for you. We can cut to at the end of this over after this ball from Bess.
Okay. Moves in now and bowls to Blackwood. It's short and pummeled away by Blackwood. Whether that hit Pope at short leg, I'm not sure. It didn't go that forcefully out to deep mid-wicket. Might just have taken some of the pace of it by hitting his shin pads or bottom of his boot. Anyway, it was a single to Blackwood, who's taken the bowling. He's looking aggressive, and it's interesting for the game as well. Blackwood 42, West Indies 97 for 4. They're not, by no means just sitting on the splice here. They are playing 1 or 2 shots as well.
Some of the top off-spinners in recent years, their records to right and left-handers. Nathan Lyon averages 36 to right-handers, 23 to left-handers. Graham Swan was 37 to right-handers, 21 to left-handers. Ashwin 31 to right-handers, 20 to left-handers, and Moeen Ali just under 40 to right-handers, 30 to left-handers. So there's been it's a big task for an off-spinner to pretty much exclusively right-handed batting lineup. The exceptions to this, going back a while, were the unorthodox right-arm off-spinners. Muralitha and Harbhajan Singh, Saeed Ajmal and Saqlain Mushtaq all had better records to right-handers than left-handers.
Stokes to Blackwood. Blackwood up on his toes, guiding it away into the offside purely defensively. And there is no run. Tuffers is here.
Oh, hello. Yeah, all of them had doozeras.
Yes, so that was the challenge that they played. They offered to the right-handed batsman, the ball turning away since 2015, and we haven't seen many of that type of bowler in world cricket in recent years. All off-spinners combined in Test cricket since the start of 2015 have averaged 40 against right-handers and 27 against left-handers. Which might ask some questions about selection, possibly.
Yeah, with Leach in the ranks. Here is Stokes bowling. That's driven by Blackwood into the offside for runs. 2, possibly 3. Wokes is after it from mid-off, and they come back for 3 runs. Takes West Indies to 100. 100 for 4 in the 33rd over, and a promising partnership developing between Blackwood 45 and Brooks on 25. This might be a bridge too far for you, Andy, but it seems to me this West Indies side is extremely unusual, a bit of an outlier in the modern game. I think in the past, going back 50 years, teams had lots of right-handers, but then there seem to be more and more left-handers in the game. I just wonder whether, this West Indies side, here is Stokes bowling, and Brooks covers up and plays into the onside, and there's no run. You can just brush this away, actually, or duck underneath it. Whether this is actually a very unusual West Indies side to have a preponderance of right-handers that most teams these days have, 3, 4, 5 left-handers in them.
I'm not going to duck underneath it. I'm going to try and hit it over long leg for 6, Simon. Give me a couple of minutes.
Oh, right, OK. That's the spirit.
Long leg.
Stokes roaring into bowl, a bouncer. And Brooks ducks underneath it.
Patience the key, isn't it? Patience the key here for England. Things do happen quickly here, but this partnership is irritating for England. Why they didn't review that glove off of Brooks, I don't know. I think he did quite a good job of throwing a dummy there, Brooks, because I just saw Joe Root go running up past him, and I think he said something to Root.
What, go on, review it?
Yeah, go on then. I thought, you're good, and you figure it's done. He just he threw a really good dummy.
Right.
And I think that just got in Joe Root's head.
Stokes bowls outside the off stump. Brooks lets it go. There was a double connection, was there? Off the glove and arm, so they would have known it hit the arm, and they would have thought, what, did it flick the glove on the way through?
Yeah. So yes, Brooks has sort of said to him, I've done you there because that's just hit the arm or something. What I mean? These things do happen.
Yeah.
You shouldn't actually be allowed to talk to the opposition, perhaps, should you? I don't know whether you can.
Not to try to fox them.
Yes, otherwise it would be like, Yeah. Really interesting.
100 for 4. Brooks on 25. Stokes moves in, bowls him outside the off stump. Brooks lets it go.
Sort of like, go on in, I dare you. Go on.
End of the over. So another one ticks by. Stokes 3 overs, no wicket for 8. England took their last wicket in the 15th over, and that was over number 33.
Yeah.
So, but we did say earlier, didn't we? You can put together a partnership, and then something can happen quickly.
Yeah.
You've got to be. You said talk about patience. It is a pitch on which things can happen quickly. You just need the one to open things. It just looks such a different game, doesn't it? You get one, but at the moment, Brooks and Blackwood are going well.
Yeah, it's one of those pitches that if you have an end open, you know that sort of like initial 20-minute burst at him until he gets to about 15-20 is absolutely crucial, because once you do get in a bit, you can still hang around on this kind of pitch, but difficult starting with the odd one sort of keeping low and what have you. Just think he needs to slow it down a bit, Don Bess. He's all a little bit anxious, if you know what I mean. Bowling it a little bit too quickly. Sometimes just stand a bit taller and throw it up from the hand. A little bit of flight, a little bit of dip.
He will be feeling the final day pressure a bit,
well,
won't he?
This is why you're here, you know what I mean? So it's all well and good sort of saying this, but just slow it down a little bit. Get some bounce from the pitch.
Best bowls. Forward goes Blackwood.
What speed's that? Does the speed come up?
Yeah. It's 55.
55, that's a bit brisk. You want to sort of, 51, 52 and just get it going up from the hand. Create some deception, some flight and some dip.
Best bowls. Blackwood goes back, clips that away to Broad, a backward square leg.
56 again. That's quick off spinning,
What do you think you bowled at?
I don't know, probably 50, 51, something like that. With the ability that, I just want to see a bit more variation in speed.
Best moves in and bowls to Blackwood. Blackwood is forward, bat in front of the pad. Bess is interested, hands on his head, but played calmly.
So just
to mid-wicket and there's no run.
A bit one-paced for me.
100 for 4. England being held up by this excellent fifth wicket stand. Best bowls. Blackwood right back into his stumps, playing defensively with soft hands towards short leg. Picked up there by Pope.
It's all very well and good feeling under pressure, but everyone's under pressure.
The batsmen were feeling it as well.
Yeah, exactly.
They're battling to win the series. Here's Blackwood coming forward, plays it back to the bowler, and Bess picks up. It's a different sort of pressure for a spinner though. A pace bowler, you can run in and you can bowl short and you can, do you know what I mean? You can be aggressive. A spinner, it's all about that, the subtleties, and everyone's looking to you as well. There's only one of you, whereas there are 4 pace bowlers. Best bowls, holds that one back a bit, turns, strikes him high up on the pad, drops onto the pitch, and Butler comes from behind the stumps to pick up. It is the end of the over. West Indies are 100 for 4. We've had 34 of the 85 overs available, and Brooks and Blackwood playing well, 25 and 45 respectively. More from Tovers, and then it will be Jonathan Agnew.
They are playing well. They've just halted England's charge with just some good patient batting. Have got themselves in. They haven't just been sort of camped on the back foot, not playing any shots. When the shots have been there, they've decided to put them away, which just keeps you going as a batsman. But England will just be getting a little bit frustrated here.
Ball's gone soft, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's not quite the same impact on the pitch as there was. 100 for 4. Stokes on his way from the far end, bowls short of a length, and Brooks turns him easily off the hip into the leg side for another run. 101 for 4, the target 312. The over's ticking away. It's 50 to go after this one, and the partnership worth 64. There's Durrich and Holder to come.
You're always going to have a partnership, aren't you? You usually have a partnership somewhere along the line, so you've just got to stay patient. But you're right, that does sound soft, that ball.
Yeah. I wonder if Stokes might go into a short-pitched attack as he did in West Indies' first innings. I think at the moment he seems to be.
I don't think he's perhaps moving so well, actually. Looks like he's got a few pebbles in the old boots. A little bit ginger on the sort of feet.
Well, he bowled something like 57 bouncers, didn't he?
Well, there you go. 11 overs of short pitch stuff. It's going to have its toll on you, isn't it?
But I think that's what they're doing. And just as Douglas Jardine did all those years ago, I think Roots clapped his hands
and said, let's have it.
And they're adopting this field now, which is for short pitch bowling. So there's 2 third men, one very fine, 4th slip, deep square leg, fine leg, and Stokes will be bowling bouncers here. And there's the first one.
Yeah.
And Blackwood is put on his bottom there to get out of the way. 101 for 4. Is he going to go for it?
That takes it out of you, John.
It takes it out of you, and you're also so restricting your ways of getting a wicket, of course.
But I mean, you're almost then trying to get the sort of the beans of the batsman going a bit, and you're saying, right, well, hold on a minute, I don't like ducking and weaving, and as you said, sort of almost sitting on your backside. No, I'm having enough of this. I'm going to play the shot, but it's whether Blackwood falls for it.
He's on 45. Here comes Stokes, bowls another bouncer down the leg side. And Blackwood just rakes at the ground with his boot. Roots changing the field. He's bringing up the deep square leg. I mean, if Blackwood's not going to join in and play, then it makes the whole thing a little bit pointless. But in fact, what they're doing, they're bringing Pope to short leg. And Root is now going out to where Pope was, out to deep square leg. So how close is Pope going? He's going on the on the next pitch, as in Friday's pitch, which is changing colour by the hour. It's getting paler and paler. 101 for 4. Blackwood on 45. Stokes Again, looks set to bowl a bouncer. Here he comes. It's short of a length, this one. Blackwood has to play. It rolls out to Wokes at cover. You'd be thinking, if a batsman got out in this situation to this, it's a bit of a soft one, wouldn't you? You'd be a bit of a sucker punch.
Exactly.
Different when you're trying to set a big score and you're batting first and you've got runs on the board and you've got to press on a bit.
Yeah. It's playing with his temperament, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Stokes bowls short, turned away off his hip this time. Broad is there to field. So 211 more runs needed in 64 overs. That's how it looks for the West Indies with 6 wickets in hand. Right, now we were expecting this news, but the ICC has today confirmed that the T20 World Cup in Australia has been postponed. I think we were expecting that. It was October, November. So there's more options. As back goes Blackwood and plays back up the pitch and is fielded by Pope. 101 for 4, 35 overs gone. Brooks 26, Blackwood 45. So the windows for the next men's events are the T20 World Cup will be held in October, November 21. That's in India, isn't it? That one's... Well, we don't know. Okay, it just windows can be played anywhere, but it was due to be played in India. There's another one in 22, which I suspect is this one that's been postponed now. I think sips into 22. That's going to be on the final on the 13th of November. Venue TBC. I think part of the world TBC. Really, this is what this is saying. And then the World Cup will be held in India in 2023. And this one, best there, very close to the off stump as Brooks watched that spin back from outside the off stump, almost dislodged a bail there. But Butler was there watching as well. So anyway, the main news there is that the World T20, which was scheduled to be played in October and November in Australia, is not happening, and it's been postponed. It goes Bess. Bowls, that's pushed away. Ball rolls down to a wide slip where Stokes is fielding. 101 for 4, which is a shame. Been good tournament that, but
well, it is what it is.
Yeah. Bess strides in and bowls slightly short again, and Brooks can push that away into the offside. So England's winter could be test matches in Sri Lanka in January.
Yeah.
Could be some test matches in India. Bess moves in, tossing. That's flicked away to mid-on, who's quite deep there. Wokes enables them to take a single. 102 for 4. But how many tests and whether they play one day is there remains to be seen. The ICC board will continue to evaluate the situation in relation to being able to stage the Women's World Cup in 21 in New Zealand in February next year. There's another one driven away into the leg side for a single. So, in other words, we'll see how things are going for next February, the Women's World Cup in New Zealand. Planning continues as scheduled, but let's have to wait and see. Yes, from over the wickets, very full, swept hard. Broad slightly misfields there, but it was hit very firmly at him with backward square leg.
It's done well there,
it spins horribly there when it comes at you. 103 for 4. The target 312. So, you see, the international landscape at the moment is just, well,
it's a bit
very
more
uncertain.
Yes, it's a bit more Darley than Constable.
Yes, it is. You like referring to your art knowledge, don't you?
Yeah. There you go.
I think you are still officially BBC's art correspondent, aren't you?
Well, might be for the one show.
I think you are. I haven't seen you on there recently. Do you still pop up? Only when there's proper art to be discussed.
That's right.
103 for 4. Stokes could come round the wicket now to see if he can really wind Blackwood up
Yeah.
round the wicket with all this short pitch field placing. He comes in round the wicket, bowls short, pulled
he's
away
taken
by
it on.
Blackwood. Take it on, and he's got it away down to Wokes at deep square leg for 1 run.
Won't mind seeing that.
Blackwood 47. Well, no, it just encourages more of it, doesn't
Yeah,
it?
that's right. And if they, if the batsmen do play it well, you are just ticking away overs, with you say, with only really one mode of dismissal.
There's a lot to be said for just absolutely ignoring it and just ducking and ducking and
Yeah.
ducking it, because they Rook can only do it for so long.
Yeah, and the bowlers can only do it so long.
Yeah. But if you give them a little bit of a sniff that you're going to join in, then they'll carry on. 104 for 4. This partnership worth 67 now. And there's 208 more runs required by West Indies.
Well, he came in, didn't he, this stage after losing 3 quick wickets at Southampton, didn't he,
did.
Blackwood, and did a
Stokes bowls short of a length to a more orthodox field now.
wonderful job.
And Brooks plays into the leg side, so they're not employing the short pitch attack against Brooks. Just for Blackwood, there's a normal 3 slips in place for Brooks.
I think Stewart's going to have how many spells has Stewart got in him? Do you reckon couple more?
Perhaps 2 more.
Yeah.
48 overs left.
I think Stewart's looked the most threatening, isn't he?
It's when they need the quick fella, isn't it? Archer or Wood or something like that. 104 for 4. Stokes bowls, and that's run away through the gap in the gully. Ball comes down to third man, pursued by Bess. 2 more runs. Or the left-arm spinner Tuffers with all the right-handers.
Well, yes, we've been discussing that, haven't we, for the next Test match. I think there will be a change. I think that Leach will come in.
Yeah.
And then I suppose Archer slots straight back in, does he, or not?
But rather him or Wood, won't it?
Yeah, well, yeah, one of those two. One of the quick fellas for perhaps a Curran or something.
Yeah.
I think Wokes has bowled quite well.
He has. Here comes Stokes, and he bowls a very high bouncer indeed, which Brooks easily gets underneath.
Job to be done here first.
Well, there is.
Yeah. Otherwise, it's gone.
Well, if England don't win this.
Yeah.
But of course, these days you get points for your World Test Championship in every game. So there is something on every game now. Even if it's not necessarily the series in hand. But if they don't win this, they sort of try and level it up. Starting on Friday, that game, 106 for 4. Stokes bowls. It's turned away to Broad's right hand at mid-on. Down he goes. It's a long way down for Stuart Broad these days, running to his right. Rolls over a couple of times. 107 for 4. Target 312, and now out they all go again. And Pope pulls on the helmet, goes out to a sort of deep short leg, which doesn't really make a lot of sense, but a short leg would be standing probably 5 yards closer to where he is. They're more for the flick.
Yeah.
Stokes, presumably this will be short. Up he comes, bowls short of a length. Oh, that's what he's there for. And that was turned away around the corner, one-handed, and it was in the air, nowhere near Pope. But that's what he's there for. The sort of fend off and the flick.
Yeah, Blackwood looks more comfortable when Stokes comes over the wicket, ducking and weaving. When he comes round the wicket, he doesn't look quite so comfy, does he? Coming in that rib cage, wants to sort of throw a hand at it and a bat at it.
Yeah. What's happening? He's got his helmet off now, Blackwood. He's digging around in there for something. Diamond stud in his right ear.
Yeah, he reckon he's left his wallet in there.
Well, he's looking for something. His car keys or something.
Car keys.
What's he put in there? Whatever it is, he's dug it out.
Yeah.
And he's going to face Bess. 108 for 4. Blackwood's on 48.
Has he tried a bit around the wicket, Bess?
Doesn't look like it.
No, it might just be worth just trying something, because they seem to just be playing him rather comfortably at the moment, these two.
Blackwood waits for Bess, who walks in, bowls over the wicket, tossing it up, and Blackwood drives back at him, and actually Bess has misfielded there. And they're able to steal a single.
See, I don't actually see that tossing it up, you see. I see that just bowling quickly and full.
Yeah.
Tossing it up is going from the hand. That's coming down from the hand.
I get you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm not meaning to correct.
Oh, no, you're right, though. And that's driven out towards cover. And that's a lovely shot. Look at this go for 4.
Yeah.
Beautifully timed.
Full.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a half volley.
Yeah. And it just all seems a bit flat and a bit quick. You know, tossing it up is going up from the hand. See, that is just that's just full. There's no deception on that, I'm afraid. I don't want to keep having a go, but...
No, Toffers, that's what you're here for, to explain.
Yeah. Just want to see him, perhaps...
But it's coming around the wicket now, which is what you
go.
wanted him to do.
Yeah, might just get through the action a bit more, get that shoulder and that...
No, he's not. I think Blackwood at this end said, hey, come around the wicket.
Yeah.
But no, he's keeping going over the wicket now. 113 for 4, in goes Bess. And he bowls, it's pushed away. Butler goes and retrieves the ball, rolling out towards point.
Might even be worth just switching short leg to the offside, just to make the batsman slightly play differently.
Yeah.
Always got to be thinking.
There's the next one. Hurries through, short of a length, and Butler fields. 113 for 4. I saw our old friend, the PA announcer.
Oh, yes.
This morning as I was striding round.
Is he in good form?
Very good form.
Yes.
Very good form. He's up. I've asked him, where are you sitting?
Yeah.
Up there in the Red Rose Suite, so over on the right, over there. Best bowling. He's hit him straight down the ground. He's timed that magnificently, and I can't see where it's landed, but it's gone for 6. Absolutely as straight as you like, over his head.
Good player, this Brooks, a spin.
119 for 4.
It's West Indies' first 6 of the series.
Beautifully struck.
Yeah.
Absolutely straight. The men are up, so tempting him to go for the big shot, and he took it on.
Yeah, it's full again. Yeah, so he's up there, is he?
He's up there.
Cup of tea.
What do you think? That's the Red Rose Suite. He's with the press box up there.
We used to commentate from there.
We did. What do you think? What do you think his surroundings are in this unusual layout that we now have?
He brought a good book with him.
There goes Bess. Bowles turned away with the spin and stopped by Pope there, who's ringing his left hand at short leg. The ball cannoning into his hand. 119 for 4. I'll give you a couple of guesses. His surroundings there up in the Red Rose Suite.
Yeah. Well, a bit sparse, I should imagine.
No, not very sparse. He could certainly make his own entertainment up there, if you like.
Oh, okay.
In fact, he could possibly cook himself something.
He's got a little kitchenette up there.
Well, that's one way of looking at it. He's actually sitting up there in a children's creche.
Oh, is he? Oh, okay.
With a little kitchen area.
Oh, right, a couple of Teletubbies next door to him.
All that sort of stuff. So good luck in there. It's lovely to see him.
A couple of blow-up unicorns.
And why there's a creche there, I don't know. Perhaps the players' children come and play up there or something. But anyway, that's where, when the announcements are delivered,
it's
amongst those nice bouncy things that you blew up and jump up and down on.
Okay, lovely.
Yeah.
Oh, well, that's very, very nice.
Yeah, bouncy castle.
Yeah. Bouncy castle up there.
Right,
did you sort of ask him?
Well, I didn't get any details. He's a little dismissively, well, I'm in a crash. Stokes round the wicket, bowls a bouncer. And but ducks underneath that. Blackwood goes for a walk.
Did you ask him sort of, is it a bit soul destroying, sort of delivering the...
I didn't like to say it must be, bit sad delivering your announcements to absolutely nobody, but I thought that'd be a bit cruel, actually.
Yes, well,
So we exchanged pleasantries, always nice to see around, and off he went to the crash. So some nice books for him to read up there, I think.
Janet and John.
Yeah. Postman Pat.
Yes.
Stokes round the wicket, bowls short. Almost carried a short leg.
And you said he felt he was a bit deep there. Another yard or two forward, that would have gone straight into his hand.
Yeah. If he'd just been, literally 2 yards.
Yeah.
Well, Stokes is certainly causing some discomfort coming around the wicket. It's up under his armpit.
Yeah.
He's trying to find a way.
Yeah.
Root has come up to backward square leg, so his arms folded, looking around the field.
Yeah, they're doing it well here, the West Indies.
Huge gap through the offside. Stokes comes in, bowls to him, and again he fends that away very awkwardly.
Oh, that could have gone anyway.
Yeah, it doesn't like that. Doesn't like it. And he's peeling his glove off now, Black, as if he wants to have a look to see if
Yeah, thumped right into
that's
him.
injured him at all.
Oh, yeah, bottom hand as well.
Nasty.
Yeah, bottom hands. Luckily got it off the bat because it can squeeze it, can't it?
Pope is saying, look, to Joe Reed, I think I should be a bit closer
Yeah,
here,
it's a
skipper.
good shout.
And I think he's moving in a little bit.
Yeah.
There he goes. But he's still quite deep, but crouching now, hands on knees. Stokes fired up, comes in round the wicket, bowls short, and it's fended to outside the off stump this time, and he's cross because he was lured into playing that, and he knows he shouldn't have done. Should just sort of let that go.
Yeah, it's starting to wear him down a bit, isn't it?
It is. Yeah, it is starting to wear him down.
It's just whether Stokes can keep it going because he must have been absolutely knackered.
Well, he's got an experienced colleague at the other end who actually is now coming down to talk to him. He hasn't played many tests, but he's played an awful lot of first-class cricket. Has Brooks. I think he's coming down to talk to Black. So come on,
It's
keep your cool here.
It's tea.
I think it's at 5-2. 5-4. Stokes sweeps back his hair. 2 balls remain in the over. In he comes and bowls another bouncer, and that perfectly easily negotiated by Blackwood, ducking underneath it. We were talking earlier about Rakeem Cornwall playing at Thames Ditton, where apparently he sank a yard of ale in record time.
Oh, yes, good. I like the Yard of Ale challenge.
Christopher Dixon emails, as impressive as his yard of ale drinking ability undoubtedly was, he also impressed on the pitch. In 11 games, he scored 495 runs at an average of 49.5 and took 19 wickets at an average of 12.
Yeah.
Stokes round the wicket, bowls another bouncer. And, Blackwood's easily underneath that. It ends the over. 15 minutes to go until tea. I'm chatting to Alistair Cook during tea about him going back to Essex and what he's going to do and that sort of a thing. Until then, Tuffers, if you could just have a quick chat, and then Alison's coming in here.
Well, I think he's got a very good chance of playing Rakeem Cornwall in the next Test match. I think there might be a few changes for both sides. Andy, a munchy stat.
Well, in fact, while Simon Mann was on, he asked about how often England face an opposition with 10 or more right-handers. This is only the 9th time in their last 160 Test matches, going back to August 2007, that England have faced 10 or more right-handers. And to illustrate the increasing prevalence of left-handers in recent Test cricket, in England's Test history before that, in about a third of their games that had happened. Ali's just getting ready. Don Best comes in now and bowls short. Brooks steps back and punches behind square on the offside for a single in that wristily elegant way of his, as Ali Mitchell is attempting to solve a fiendish puzzle of tangled wires.
I know. Good luck, Ellie. Oh, well.
Doesn't happen on the telly, does it, Ali? You've got 25 people doing it for you. And
you might have to go for a double emergency stat.
Bess is coming in once, only pulls out of this delivery, perhaps, and then a heroic attempt to give Ali Mitchell a little more time to get into position to commentate this ball. Do I get paid for this?
Thank you, Andy. Thank you very much for that. Well commentated. I'm settled and Bess is in, and it's sliding off the pad. Bess is interested, but the umpire isn't. Blackwood on 49, 120 for 4. And Bess wipes some sweat from his brow, walks back to the end of his mark. I did get in a tangle then, Tuffers.
You did.
Gladly sat down now.
We need a better way of storing our headphones, don't we? Because all those tails, I think they're called tails, aren't they? Leads, whatever, yes. They all get a bit tangled.
Bess in again, forward comes Blackwood, defends. Bess stops it with his foot. There was a big inside edge onto pad then. Tell you what it was like, because I don't know how much jewellery you keep, Tuffers, but any female who has a lot of necklaces will know that often you open your jewellery box and all your necklaces are tangled, and it takes an awful age to try and get all the chains untangled. It was exactly like that. Bess in, going back Blackwood, working it up down towards long on, taking a single, and that brings up his 50. So Blackwood, 12th Test 50, a slight raise of the bat towards the dressing room and the balcony. But this is an excellent partnership between these two, more importantly. Yes. But Blackwood recovering well from his duck in the first innings.
Yes, I've always wondered that. It's the same with my wife, you know. Put them back absolutely beautifully, and then there's like a little fairy goes in there and messes them all up.
Completely agree. Bess goes in, little flick of the wrist again, working it down towards long on for 1. Yeah. We've got a little fairy here as well.
Yes, he's just come and sorted all our leads out. Well done.
Nice and neat. So there was a microphone tree on day one, but actually the microphones had to be moved from the tree to a different position because they were also going to be a bit tangled. As best as in airily, but then straight to Burns. It's middle wicket. It's the end of the over. 122 for 4. Blackwood on 50. Brooks on 42.
A bit like my sock drawer.
Does that get muddled up as well, does
Yeah,
it?
it just gets muddled up. I don't know how.
The sock fairy.
And I'm sure that you put 2 in, and you sort of fold them over just to keep them together, and you come back and there's only 1 there. I don't know what happens.
Do you organise your socks? Are they sort of colour coordinated in any way?
No.
When you start?
No, not really. I haven't got
Definitely
a
not one of those people that opens a drawer and you've got your socks lined up there, and then your T-shirts all beautifully folded.
No, numbered. And Monday,
A Monday
Tuesday,
sock,
yes,
a Tuesday
yeah,
sock. You've got your purple ones on today.
No, I have indeed. Yeah, I
Yeah.
like a strong sock. keeps me happy. Keeps me happy. Always puts a smile on my face.
Blackwood's half-century came from 81 balls. He's hit 7 fours. It's his 13th 50-plus score in Test cricket. He has 1 century against England back in 2015. His second half-century of the series, both in the 4th innings.
Yeah, indeed. A huge value on his 95 in Southampton. Stokes bowling short leg slip as well. In he goes now, backing away, shaping to try and pull him over square leg, and then pulling out of the shot. Brooks. Stokes has followed through and given him a bit of a glare then. Looking fired up.
When do England start getting a little bit panicky? About now.
Well, 44 overs left after this one.
6 wickets as well.
Still 6 wickets to get. I mean, obviously the West, what the rate of scoring has been, 4 and a bit and over. Thing is, if West Indies do start to get to a point where they feel we could actually be in sight, and if Blackwood is still there, things could get very interesting. Stokes in, ducking underneath it. I don't think it got up as much as Brooks initially expected. He really had to get down low, right down on that knee pad to get out of the way.
And you just got the feeling that when Brooks gloved that one to the keeper and they didn't review it, that they almost sort of took a bit of heart from that, you know what I mean? England were on the charge there, weren't they? Stumps were flying, things keeping low and what have you, and then I think they've just taken a bit of heart from that and said, right, now come on, this is us, let's really dig in, and they're doing it well.
Runs required, 190. Stokes around the wicket, fended away well, controlled into the ground. Burns is there at gully.
Yeah, I think that's a step too far, because you're going to lose a couple of wickets doing that unless these two get 100, and 100 and something. But they really have come together.
It's a partnership of 85 so far.
They've done so well. They've just halted England, and you can just tell a bit of a shift. You see the old skipper hands in his pockets, and people going, hold on, this might be slipping away from us a little bit.
And still back the England camp at this stage. I think Stokes is in again around the wicket, ducking, letting the ball pass over his back. Because all it does take, I can say this, is break this one partnership.
Yeah.
Now, you have got Dowrich and Holder still to come, both very good batsmen. But then England have had the knack of running through. But what they don't want to happen is, it was 85 overs in the innings, so there's always going to be the prospect of 5 with the new ball if England needed it. And what they don't want is for the West Indies to still have 5 wickets in hand, 5 overs, or even 4 wickets in hand. You just want that to really be the last 2 if you're getting down to that stage. Stokes in again, bangs it in from around the wicket, and left well alone by Brooks.
I think Stuart Broad's spell's going to be key, isn't it? He's probably got a couple of spells in him, one after tea and then one, with that new ball if required. And he's looked the most likely for me.
They really want somebody else to chip in, whether it is Stokes or Bess, Curran, to get a couple of breakthroughs before then. So if anything, if it's Broad with the new ball, as I said, with 5 overs left in the day, but you want that to be the final charge.
But he's got to get England in the position to use that new ball.
Stokes in again, turned away past short leg. In control of the shot as Brooks coming back for a second. Throw comes into Butler. In fact, it's gathered in front of the stumps by Pope. 124 for 4 then.
Can I just, finish that stat that I was interrupted by your wire untangling. So England have back to the stat that Simon Mann commissioned about half an hour ago now. There's only the 9th game, Southampton was the 8th in England's last 160 tests since 2007. They faced 10 or more right-handers. Previously, that had happened in about a third of their games. So it does show there have been more left-handers in Test cricket recently. In the 2010 decade, 30% of all Test players were left-handed. In the 2000s, it was 25%. In the 1990s, it was 20%. In the 1980s, it was 17%. So there's been an increase in left-handed batting in Test cricket.
Was this in the context of a conversation as to whether Leach gets brought in for the
Yes,
Test
well,
match here?
I think it's a certainty.
In comes Bess, now over the wicket full once more, and draws Blackwood forward, and he defends it solidly again.
Yeah, I think it's a certainty. I think Raheem Cornwall,
For the West Indies.
will come in for the West Indies.
Seen him in action quite a bit, haven't we? Doing some one-on-one netting and training. And
because this is a
turning his
turning
arm
bouncing
over.
pitch, you know. This is a
and
bounce.
he bowls from a good height, doesn't he?
Very much so.
Blackwood's just moving a little bit of loose dirt away. Bless you, Tuffers.
Excuse me.
Settling over his bat now. 50 not out of 83 balls. Bess in, coming forward, taking a single to long on. And Wokes is there to move in off the boundary. Pick up. Loopy throw back into Dom Bess. Well, the burst of wickets came when Broad had the ball in his hand, struck with the 5th ball of the innings to remove John Campbell. A review that was left late by Root, but it was a catch behind to Butler. Bess in again, defence coming forward. There's just not, there has been that around the wicket bowling, but there's not really any footmarks.
Doesn't matter.
Quite the spot where Bess wants to bowl into.
Doesn't matter. Should be turning it and spinning it on this and bouncing it. If you bowl it too full, how can you get bounced?
Yeah. We haven't really seen the loop in the delivery, the flights. Whip of the wrist this time, past mid-wicket. Quick single taken. Looking lively, coming back for the second. Throw comes back into Bess, and they're making a comfortable 2. Keeping things ticking over very smartly at the moment with little peril out there. 127 for 4. Partnership is now worth 90. Slipping short leg. Bess with a furrowed brow in. Oh, here's a lofted shot, holding the pose down the ground. Over the head for 6. Not much that Wokes could do about that. He tried to leap from the ground and raised his arms in an attempt to see whether there was a catch on offer, but there wasn't. And that was a really wonderful stroke. It's clear the boundary back down the ground, and that is taking the attack to the spinner.
Beautiful shot. As I say, full again. And just able to get a good stride in and straight path of the bat swing. Middled it, and it was always going to be 6.
And crashing into the tarpaulin.
Brooks's half century just came up from his 95th ball, 2 6s and 3 4s. It's his 4th in Test cricket. Second of this game. He has 100 amongst those 4. That was against Afghanistan. 52
not out. What a stylish way to bring up your 50.
Lovely.
Bess in again now, and he goes back and covers up and defends solidly. That's that ability to move from defence into spectacular attack, but they've got the measure of the England bowling.
They have
133
indeed.
for 4.
They have indeed, and it wasn't even spectacular. Well, it was a great shot, but I mean, there wasn't sort of an element of risk about it. You know, he didn't have to use his feet, didn't have to sort of negotiate turn or bounce. It was just like a good stride to the ball, straight through. Didn't have to hit it too hard, just made sure he get the middle of the bat on it. Beautiful shot to get you 50. Yeah.
Well, we are 5 minutes away, little under 4 minutes away from tea. Stokes is going to be bowling. England have only taken 1 wicket all session. So the early burst in the morning session, which was a dramatic session, what with Stokes going berserk with the bat to begin with to set up the declaration, which came with England 129 for 3, setting West Indies' target of 312. And then Broad and Wokes sharing 3 wickets between them. Since then, these two have done brilliantly together. Forcing this away, is up on his toes. Blackwood a forcing shot, and Stokes from his follow-through is setting off back towards the pavilion. I don't think even Stokes will catch up, or will he? Oh, I have to say, that is a brilliant effort from Stokes. He's slid in. Did he actually save the boundary or not? I have to go and have another look. I've never seen a bowler turn from his follow-through, sprinting all the way back to the boundary, because he knew there was no fielder back.
Yeah. He
has saved the boundary.
He really is doing everything for the team here. Diving as well, got the dive in. Might have just gone for 4. They're having a look. You're right, the runs now are coming a little bit too freely as well. I think tea might just come in England's favour here. Yep. Regroup, think of some plans, and go again. Because what's the target? How many do they need now?
They need another 176. Well, was that signal for 175?
Oh, well, they're not getting that in the session.
Blackwood on 55 now. Stokes around the wicket again. Defends it into the pitch. He's up on his toes, back of a length from Stokes.
4.2 and over to win the match from here. But yeah, but England would then just put fielders all around. Listen, England should be looking to win this Test match. It's as simple as that. West Indies have played really, really well, and a great partnership has developed. But
it's now worth 100.
yeah, but they're not getting the runs. Famous last words.
Just remember that at 15:53 p.m.
Yeah.
3:53, bouncer from Stokes, and Blackwood is ducking underneath it. Well, just watching Stokes chase back from the boundary. Then, I mean, what else could he do all in one delivery? I mean, it's a little bit of an ask, isn't it, with the speed he bowls, to ask him to deliver a ball and run round and take the gloves from Butler and sort of be keeper as well.
Yes, well, that's right. But like Speedy Gonzalez, he actually then bowls the delivery, he nicks it, and then runs round, puts the gloves on and catches it. Yeah, very good. Yeah, have some of that. Yeah.
He does do everything, doesn't he?
He does. He's a full-on cricketer, this boy.
Desperately need a breakthrough here, though. England need to break the partnership.
Oh,
Gloved
that's
in the
it.
air.
Oh!
Butler's taking a brilliant diving catch.
And there it is.
That is Stokes the man. When England desperately needed it, the ball back of a length, fended away. It's ballooned up behind the batsman. Butler did have to tear off to his left and took it diving just above the turf. Stokes the man. Blackwood gone for 55. 137 for 5, and that's tea.
Yeah, just what England needed. They were looking flat. They were thinking that this partnership might get West Indies to safety, but then again, that man, Ben Stokes, he was looking uncomfortable from round the wicket. I must admit, Blackwood, he sort of wanted to throw his hands at it and didn't feel comfortable ducking or swaying, and then gets his rewards. Josh Butler made good ground there to get the grab. Blackwood goes for 55, and that could just be the lift that England needed going in a tea.
Yep, absolutely. 5 down. They come out to the last session. They've got a new batsman. 5 wickets needed. There is the possibility of 5 overs with the new ball if they get to that stage, but that has just, again, altered the complexion once more.
It has. There would have been a few sort of like sorry faces in that tea room if this hadn't gone to hand to Josh Butler, but now it'll be like pats on the back and saying, come on boys, let's get out here and really give it a good go after tea. Great bit of bowling again. The lion-hearted Ben Stokes. I mean, it's tough to keep running in bowling that stuff, and he's got his reward. Well done.
Fine effort. England trudging up the stairs, but with a lighter spring in their step than they would have had if the West Indies were going in 4 down with an unbroken 100 partnership in place. Shamar Brooks is still there, unbeaten on 52, but 137 for 5 then. A session where England had to really work hard to get the second of the 2 wickets that fell. So that's where things stand at the moment then. So
yeah, good effort.
Yeah. How many overs left in the evening session then, Andy? The equation.
42 overs and 2 balls. So just 1 ball past halfway.
Yeah. 312 is the target, but now it really is about getting England getting these wickets. And when the West Indies, if they do see it through, it really be a matter of utter survival, you feel now. They've got Dowrich, Jason Holder to come, and then you're into the table.
Yeah, you're kind of thinking that England need another couple of wickets, and then it might be game over. But I've been very impressed with those 2 West Indian batsmen. As you say, they came out when they were rocking again and really did get in the way of England's progress. Such a shame just before tea, just getting a little bit of a glove on it. Why didn't you duck it? That's what was going through his mind. But yeah, well bowled, Ben Stokes.
Yeah, persistence. So 1 wicket to Stokes, 3 for Broad, and 1 for Chris Woakes as well. I've just been watching Aggers. He has managed to, he hasn't had any trouble now with the tangle of necklaces because they've all been beautifully straightened out and untangled. Tuffers, just a few more thoughts from you on the match situation. I guess how England will bowl as after the tea break to continue to burst through this West Indies lineup. And then Aggers is coming in to talk you through tea.
Well, I'm pretty sure Stuart Broad might be given a go. Ben Stokes has put a lot of effort in there. I think he might have a bit of a blow, and I can imagine it would be Stokes and Woakes starting up after. I'm sorry, Broad and Woakes after tea, just to try and get these remaining West Indians wickets.